high toxic chemicals.
Just pulled up to the house, don't feel like getting out. I'ma just lay back and crack this window. I've been doing my best.
Tell the truth.
Taking a moment to rest, feeling
Information Man.
give
So
it
be
a
sure to
good.
subscribe to his
I
channel.
put that on God when it gets hard. I stay on my job like no days off, so you can go home with the negativity, with that mentality. Jump on jealousy, my bad. Get away from me, 'cause I've been working all day. Can a nigga catch a break? Give a pretty brown girl her space. You can keep your bitter. I'ma make a better way. Hey, hey. Already got the world on me. Give a pretty brown girl her space. You can keep your bitter. I'ma make a better way. Hey, hey. Catch a break. Better way. Oh, way. Mom and Dad's only daughter. Do I make you proud?
You are listening to the Information Man. Please be sure to subscribe to his channel.
Tell the truth.
Constantly. When it's my truth, I own. I speak it. It don't make sense now. Give it a good. Put that on good.
Information
It gets
is
hard.
power.
Stay on my job like no days off, so you can go home with that. Jump on my back. 'Cause I've been working all day. Can a nigga catch a break?
Welcome to the Information Man Show, everybody. Peace to you. On very soon.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
Welcome to the Information Man Show.
Tell the truth.
We're going to tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
What's up, everybody? Peace! Let that clock tick down. 1, 2. Peace. Peace, everybody. Thank you for being here. I appreciate everybody's patience. I'm glad to be here. Let me shout out my man in the chat room from BS3 TV. BS3 TV Sports is in the house. Let me point this brother out. He has a network. I'm a part of his network. I'm on Roku TV now, and I'm very happy about that. I've known this brother for quite a long time, brother Ben here, and let me put him on the screen there. That's BS3 Network. But if you got Roku at home, you can find me under the moniker of BS3 TV Live. He has a network. He has sports. He has all different subject matters on his network on Roku TV. So you can catch me usually live on Sundays like this around this time, where it's being broadcast by way of StreamYard, by the way, going right into Roku TV. So I want to thank that brother for being in the chat room. He's saying good afternoon to everybody. And before I begin with the show today, let me give people all the greetings as possible. I hope everybody can hear me. If you can hear me and my sound is where it needs to be, let me check a few things in my studio here. And okay, all sound is exactly where it needs to be here. Just put a 1 in the chat room if my sound is coming through nice and clear. I'm going to bring my mic down just a little bit to avoid the clipping. I don't want the sound to clip. Just let me know in the chat room. Everybody can hear me. And before I begin with the feature presentation today, it does not give me great pleasure to have to talk about this issue, but damn it, we got to talk about it because over
Tell the
here,
truth.
it's about telling the truth. But before I get into the actual subject matter of today's broadcast, podcast, YouTubing, Rokoing, whatever you want to call it over here, I would be amiss if I did not give the respect that is due. Regina King, everyone has heard about this so far. I did a video yesterday on Your News Shorts. That's my third channel as well. And I talked about the loss of her son. It came as very heart-filling news because she had such a strong bond with her son, a strong love with her son, as a mother has with her sons and mothers, as I said on that video, have a very special bond. And out of respect for her, I want to put her and her son up on the screen right now. Take everything off that does not need to be there. And I just want to pay some respects. I did a video on her and her son, Ira Alexander Jr. He was with his mother every step of the way. Every time Regina King would go to a reward show, she would always have her son at her side. And like I said before, sons and mothers have very special relationships, very special bonds. I said in that video that sometimes when a woman's husband or boyfriend is not in the best light towards that woman, meaning she goes through a divorce, she has problems in relationships, normally the son, depending on the relationship, becomes the de facto most dependable and most stable man in a woman's life. I'm talking about the son.
Tell the truth.
Because when men come and go and marriages don't last, a son, not saying a daughter, but when it comes to sons, in terms of a male, sons become the most important factors in a woman's life because the son becomes the most stable man in the woman's life. Let's just keep it 100% real about that.
Tell the truth.
And so, unfortunately, he had a birthday. He was 26 years old, and just a few days after his birthday, it was reported that Ira Alexander Jr., son of Ira Alexander Sr., who they both split time as dual parents raising this young man, he took his life by way of suicide. And I'm going to tell you right now, everybody, that suicide is a serious problem in this country. No one wants to deal with it effectively. Sometimes we're in denial of this reality. And I'm going to say this to be very honest. In the Black community, we are I'm going to be honest because I work in mental health. we are highly in denial of mental health issues. We'll sometimes just say, hey, that's just crazy, Uncle Charlie. He's just been touched. We'll look at people who have problems and say all they need is a little marijuana and it'll be okay. Medicate yourself with street drugs, psychotropic, whatever it takes to medicate yourself. And I'm not saying that psychotropics, which they give you in psychiatry, I'm not saying that that's the end all, the cure all, because there are certainly people who have side effects when they take psychotropic drugs. But it was obvious that this young man was struggling, and I feel really bad. This is really a sad situation for Regina King because she's been on top of the mountain within the entertainment industry. And for those of you who may not be aware of this, she is one of the highest paid women, one of the highest paid women in Hollywood, and overall one of the highest paid actors in Hollywood. A lot of people may not have realized that. But that doesn't really matter when you lose a son. All of her success, the Oscar, her production company that she has, the writing, the uniquely movies that she's been in, all the things that she's been in since 227. Remember 227 when she was in there? None of that can medicate her with the loss of a son. This is nothing to play with. And so I just wanted to bring this up while I have this audience here. And I want to bring one more other thing up and this is about mental health, and I deal with guys who fight with this. I'm going to put this right up here next to me. And I want you all to look at that. And I want you to take a good look at that for a moment. This is what he posted before he took his life. He said, I don't think Instagram is healthy for me. Hunting last messages posted by Regina King's son, Ira Alexander Jr., in days before he took his own life on the 26th birthday, revealed he was losing his, I'm going to say shit because that's really what that is there. He was losing and he felt his brain was on fire. And I'm going to tell you that is the normal conditions, medical conditions that people have when they are fighting with some form of mental health issues. Excuse me. Now, in the bottom corner of this on the screen, as you can see it to the right side, that's the actual post that he posted. And he put an illustration of what he mean when he said he felt like his brain was on fire. And sometimes when you're going through mental health, you're stressed out, you're depressed, you're hopeless, you see no tomorrow, it could feel like you've got a burn in your brain. Things are scrambling. I don't know if this young man was on medication, if he was being seen by a professional, but I want to say it is with deep grief and sorrow. And I want to say my condolences to the family and to Regina King and her family and all that loved her son, as well as the father, Ira Alexander Sr., who has lost a son. Mental health is serious, and I'm not surprised by this because there is an increase in Black males taking their life by way of mental health crisis that we need to address. And this is why, in some ways, this is fitting that I'm talking about this today, about the issue of opioid addiction. It is a very serious condition. And that's what I want to get into today broadcast. Once again, this will not be a long broadcast, but it'll get to the point. Let me just say some peace and some love to folks that are in the chat room right now that have come over. We got Beverly Palmers. Thank you for coming over. We have It's All Hot Air up here. Thank you for coming over. We have Barbie Girl Tina. It's good to see you back in the chat room. It's good to see you overall here. Thank you. Thank you for coming over. Wellness with Fugu Mama. We have Patora Afro in the house. We got the Brown Solo Traveler. Thank you for being here, my sister. Appreciate you being here. Who else do we have in the house here? The White 2 Pack. Thank you for coming over. Uniquely is in the house. Everybody give it up for her. Anthony McNeil. Hey, man, what's going on? Good to see you over here. Thank you for coming over. Thank you. Now, I know this is not a popular content right now. This is not content that brings people over in droves, because for the most part, as a society, we are in denial of not only the mental health issue, but the drug issues that do plague this country and also is impacting our community as African-American people, and it's affecting people across the board. And I'm going to put up on the screen some statistics, some graphs, and I'm going to go over it with you. I'm going to do my best not to bore you with the details of, well, I'm not going to bore you with it. I'm going to try to get right to the point with this, but it's very serious because some of us have family members who may be suffering not only by mental health problems, which you see with Regina King's son, who took his life, said his brain was on fire in his last days of life. He posted on Instagram some pretty harrowing statements. But we might have family members that have been drug addicts. We might have family members that have been fighting addiction all our life. Maybe some of you out there watching and listening to me right now, maybe those in the chat room. I'm not trying to shame anybody here. Maybe those that are following me in the chat room and listening abroad, maybe you have battled with some form of addiction, if not drug addiction, and maybe you have a family member right now or someone that you know personally that is battling with some form of drug addiction. Opioids is a big deal, but I'm going to give you some contrast because on the thumbnail, I specifically said that on that thumbnail, and that brother on that thumbnail was a part of an article that was on the Guardian news, online news publication, where they were talking about the differences in how black people are treated as it relates to the opioid crisis versus white people, where white people are seen as victims and black people are still seen as the quote unquote are the addicts. And there's a difference in treatment because it was already proven. And I've done a video about this where doctors believe that black people have a higher intensity for pain threshold. Remember the doctor who was in the hospital and she kept asking the doctors that she needed more medication because she was having pain. And I believe she caught this virus. And remember, she took her cell phone and she said, they're hurting me in here. The doctors don't believe that I need more medications. And what ultimately happened is that she passed away. And then the son had to sue the hospital. Historically, they have seen black people have being some kind of machine in which we can tolerate a lot of pain. Right? Another thing that's going to be harrowing to you, and I'm sorry, I gotta drop this truth on you.
Tell the truth.
There was an article, and I'm supposed to be doing a video about this. So many things that I've been wanting to do. There was an article that came out, and it said that if you are a black person and you have a quote unquote white doctor, you have a serious condition, statistically, you have a higher chance of not making it through that treatment by that doctor. If you have a black doctor, black male doctor, black female doctor, you have a higher propensity to survive your condition. They've done studies about this. Matter of fact, I think I will do a separate video on this. They've done studies about this to show that black people in America have a higher chance of surviving their medical conditions when being served by a black doctor. That's why I have a black doctor.
Tell the truth.
This shows you the disparities, the racial disparities in America. So when black people are addicted to some sort of opioid or some sort of drug, we're not treated like victims, and oftentimes, sometimes not treated like we are patients. And the data shows it out. Let me go back into the chat room and see who else we got here. We got Ren Mix Vlog. Hey, sister, thank you for coming over. Clap to you. We got Express Queen Delight, and I'm glad that she's here. She says, we all have fallen short. Big brother, we take it one day at a time. All praises to the Most High. That's right. Clap for that. Yeah. It's one day at a time that we deal with our addictions. We deal with what pains us. I'm going to tell you right now, because I see this all the time. I see black men that are suffering in the penal system with their mental health issues. They're saying that they're suicidal. They're saying that they want to harm themselves, harm others, hearing voices. They may cut on themselves. They may do various things to themselves because once they're already depressed being in prison. Two, they're depressed being away from family, and they begin to feel hopeless. And oftentimes they're saying they're hearing things in their mind that they can't get the voices out of their head. Now, are there people who fake their symptoms just to have an easy place in prison? Yes. But are there people who have legitimate symptoms that need to be treated, that you need to have some understanding of how to treat it and create coping skills, methodology to provide them coping skills to deal with what's happening to them so that they don't harm themselves and harm others? Some people, I'm going to be honest with you, they do need to take psychotropic medications because their mental health issues are just that serious. This goes in unison and concert with having a drug dependency to opioids, for example. And let me see who else is in the chat room here. And we got my man Perspective who's coming to the house. Peace to you. Good to see you over here, brother. Thank you for coming over. I appreciate that for your for coming over and being a part of the program. I've been missing your podcast due to time differences between the West Coast and the East Coast. Hey, sister, it's okay. I understand that people have a life and you can always catch anything that I do on the replay. I'm a very humble brother. I appreciate any time that you give this channel and definitely share and give me the biggest favor here. If you've got a cellular phone, you're watching me right now on your cell phone, your desktop computer, your iPhone, your tablets, go ahead and share the video in your social media. You can click right into it by hitting share, put it in your Facebook, put it in your Twitter, whatever social media that you use. And those of you that are watching on Roku out there, do me a favor. Even though you might enjoy just watching on Roku, come on over to the YouTube channel and give it a subscribership as well. Hit the bell notification and subscribe to the channel as well. And I would really appreciate that. Now we got my man, Real Aaron Collins, who's in the house saying good afternoon, information man in chat. And good afternoon to you, brothers. Good to see you over here. And we're going to make it do what we can make it do. I appreciate that. We got Mick Guire. What's going on is in the house. Trishan, I appreciate you coming over. Thank you. And let me get into this right now. So remember, everybody in the chat room, if you remember this, put a 1 in the chat room as you hear me say this. Remember back in the 80s when crack was an epidemic throughout the land and it was impacting black people specifically the hardest. And what did they do, ladies and gentlemen? They demonized black people by calling us what? Crackheads. We even called ourselves crackheads when we saw a crackhead, right? People laughed at us. Man, look. Remember in the movie Fridays when the guy that was drug addicted, he said, look, I got these cheeseburgers, man. Come on. $5 for the cheeseburgers. And what did they say? That ain't nothing but a crackhead, man. And remember in, what was that? New Jack City, when Ice Cube said to Pookie, Pookie played by Chris Rock, he said, you owe everybody, Pookie. You owe everybody for what you did. We're going to see what you can do with that rehabilitated body, Pookie. And remember, Chris Rock screwed up. He could not stop freebasing The Rock. He could not maintain himself. And ultimately, Pookie, played by Chris Rock, was ultimately done for. Even remember when, what was that? Eddie Murphy did an animation on Fox TV or Channel 2. And in that cartoon animation, he had crackheads, or he had black people depicted as crackheads in that, right? And even in Living Color, Damian Wayans and them, they played crackhead characters. So we also, some of us as black people, we contribute to this crackhead myth, wording. And then the larger society took that wording to demonize every black person who was addicted as a criminal, a thug, and a crackhead. And they criminalized you if you were on crack cocaine, and they put you in jail and threw away the collective, I do mean collective, key. And then here comes the 1990s, going into the 2000s, where we are today in 2022, and you've got white people who are heavily addicted to opioids, right? And we're sitting back as black people and saying, okay, we're going to see if they're going to be demonized the way black people were demonized. Are you going to criminalize them, put them in jail, chump up the charges on them, because they put a lot of black people in jail that were addicted to crack cocaine? Are you going to do that to white folks? No, they didn't do that to white people. They simply said to white society, you have a medical problem. Opioids are a medical problem. You must be treated as a clinical patient. You must be seen as a victim. Because what was happening is that the opioids were tearing through white America, particularly white suburban America. So you had the soccer mom getting hooked on the opioids. You had the middle class to upper middle class white families getting hooked on opioids. It wasn't just the trailer park white folks that were living in the trailer parks in the poor areas in the South. Of course, they were getting on opioids, and they were getting on methamphetamine. That's been hitting rapid. And it became what we called in the black community as white people's crack cocaine. But nobody, we saw it that way, but America saw them as patients and had more, how can we say, more compassion, more sympathy and empathy for white people who have gone rapidly addicted to not only the meth and also the opioids. And they have been protected by society, who says we deem it as a medical problem. Now, henceforth, we as black people, we sit back and say that's white people's problem. They're addicted to that. That's their problem. Ha, 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 ha. Last laugh on them now, because they were laughing at us when it was the crack cocaine epidemic. But Lord and behold, what's happening, ladies and gentlemen, is that the numbers are starting to move up. And what we have now is a phenomenon where we have older black men in their 50s, 55 to 56 to 57, who are heavily addicted to opioids. And what is happening, ladies and gentlemen, is that a lot of our older generation, some of them are the same people who were hooked on crack cocaine and heroin once upon a time ago, and they just have never been able to get off the drugs. And you know, as well as I know, ladies and gentlemen, that the bottom line is they don't cure you of your drug problem. They simply replace your drug habit with another drug habit. It's called methadone. Methadone. So they replace it. Then you got that drug fentanyl that's now becoming very dangerous out here. But so they replace you with your street drug, and then they hook you on another chemical. Therefore, you always stay dependent on a chemical. A damn chemical. I want to thank everybody that's come in. Let's see who we have here. Back to the basics. Brown is in the house. DOD, good to see you back over here, brother. Peace to you. I hope everything has been well. I haven't seen you in a little bit, but I hope all is well with you. We've got, let me see, Express Queen Delight is saying, not letting it be known that they are some of the worst drug addicts. Yeah. Now I want to show you something. I've got it for you. Oh yeah, I got it for you. Let me see. Brown says this. What is your take on abuse versus dependency addiction? Some think addiction is a choice. They may not outright say it, but they say it in a subtle way. Well, we're all addicted to something. You know what? One of the most dangerous drugs that we have on the market, and it's not even behind lock and key. It's called sugar. Sugar is one of the most addictive things. And to show you how far it went, this world that we live in was so addicted to sugar. It's what fueled the slave trade. The reason why they moved African people, black people from the continent of Africa into places like the Caribbean, into South America, is because Europeans had an insatiable appetite for sugar. Most of the plantations that they put us on, particularly those in the Caribbean, South America, was sugarcane plants where they had us growing and cultivating and harvesting sugar cane, because the world Europeans were hooked on sugar. That was the world's first drug in a sense, and sugar still is very addictive. We all can be addicted. We could be addicted to aspirin. You could be addicted to drinking too much soda pop. You could be addicted to eating all that junk at McDonald's and fried chicken and all these sort of things, candy, Skittles and soda pops and pop and all this other stuff. All this stuff is addictive. And what does it all have in common? Sugar. Sugar, ladies and gentlemen. So that is a drug
Tell the truth.
that we all need. Then there are people who need a caffeine rush in the morning. They can't work or can't function without a source of boosted energy because they can't rely on their own energy. So they need coffee. I'm not hating on anybody that drinks coffee, but it's just a fact that coffee is also another stimulant, and you can become highly addicted to that stimulant. So there's everything in this world that we live in. We are all addicted to something that we're trying to cut out of our diet, and sometimes we sneak it in: cookies, snacks, ice cream, you name it. Sugar is the greatest addiction because it's the addiction that is in almost all of our food, one way or another. So you make a very good point. Let me go ahead and show you the data that I want to show you, everybody. And I thank you all for being here. We got King Wage in the house. Thank you for being here and joining the stream today. So let's go right in here and let me show you my first information here. So as I was saying, I'm going to take some things off the screen here. This is the brother right here who is playing around with some of his pills. I'm going to take this off the screen right here so you can see what I'm talking about. So he's got his pills right there, ladies and gentlemen. And this is the face of the increase of black men. It's not younger black men, it's older black men. And like I said before, I think a lot of this has to do with the older generation that got themselves hooked on heroin. Remember back in the 60s and 70s, back in the 40s, where you had a lot of black people, well, not a lot, but you had some black people within the jazz lifestyle were getting hooked on heroin, like Miles Davis. There were many jazz artists who got hooked on. Billie Holiday got hooked on heroin. And then you had black people who got hooked on crack cocaine. Of course, we know that came out of the fact that back in the 80s, people were taking cocaine in a recreational manner, thinking that, oh, it ain't no big deal. I can take a couple of sniffs here and there, and I'm going to be able to control it. But not everybody, all of a sudden, it became an addiction. and people could not handle their recreational use. And then when crack cocaine hit the scene, it blew up everything. It blew the scene up. It changed everything. We had some of us had uncles and parents and people that we knew that we grew up with in our community that were walking around like zombies, asking for money, women saying that they would provide sexual pleasure to you if you would just give them something. I mean, we had a walking night of the dead going on in some of our communities back in the 80s. This cannot be denied, but it shows you, I believe, that some of these addictions to opioids, I think, are a layover in the older generation back from their drug use in their younger years, and they were just never able to get over their drug use because, like I said, all they do is replace one drug with another drug like methadone. And I remember when I was growing up, there was a methadone clinic in my neighborhood, and I used to see all the people lining up. And I said, damn, these people look like Night of the Living Dead. Because you could look at them and tell they were drug addicts. They just had that look. They had that, yeah, man, they had that nodded out look like that, and, not to make fun of it, but I'm just saying that was vividly what I remember seeing, and I was like, damn, that always made me growing up as a kid say, I don't want no parts of drugs because I don't want anything controlling me and making me look like a zombie. Let me go into here. So one of the worst things that has happened to the country is that doctors are partly to blame. They play a big role in this. Everybody in the chat room, if you believe that doctors, the medical establishment plays a role in the opioid addiction and problems we have today, put a 1 in the chat room. If you're not sure, put a 2 in the chat room. But I personally believe that they play a big part in this disaster that we've been experiencing over the years. And so let me go ahead, and this looks really gruesome. And by the way, look at all those pills. Just imagine you wake up every day and you are dependent every day on taking opioids because you've got problems with pain. And pain, ladies and gentlemen, pain is the most difficult thing to manage for people when it comes to health. Pain therapy, pain health is a serious issue. And I see everybody in the chat room is putting a 1. We have Back to the Basics putting a 1. Beverly Palmer's putting a 1. It's all comes out in the end saying absolutely 1. Mick Grigger is saying 1. Being Mary, hey, what's going on? Good to see you here. Puts a 1. And Brother Perspective says real world traumatic crack destroyed. Yep, crack destroyed some of our communities. It destroyed it completely. Yeah, anytime you see those Russian trolls, get them out of here. That's been going on for quite a bit. These Russian, and we don't want them bringing any kind of viruses into this chat room with any of you. We got Golden Melanin who's in the house saying peace and blessing. Yeah, anytime you see them Russian symbols coming in, get rid of them as soon as possible. Golden Melanin, Back to the Basics, King Wage. I see a lot of folks in there, and I'm also looking at people that I'm going to be modding up at some point in time. So on this here, you have United States drug overdose deaths by cause. So check this out. This is going to about 2018, but this is just let you know what's happening. Most of the deaths in the United States going from 2010 all the way to 2012, 2014, 2016, 2018, the majority of these deaths have been caused by opioids, going all the way up from 20,000 all the way up to 60,000 people that have died due to opioids. Okay. Now, methamphetamine, which I'm very surprised. Methamphetamine and cocaine are around 10,000. So they are below the totem pole. So it's these prescription medications that you can get behind the counter with a doctor's order, or you can fake your doctor's order, or you can get your pills underground. These opioid pills are the main thing that's killing America. And it has been definitely devastating white America for some time. But now it is creeping, or it has creeped into Black America, specifically black older men. Let's go into this chart right here. Now, on this chart, it confirms that opioids relate to death rates, all intended by race and year. So these are race. So the years, the red means 2017, the darker gray is 2016, the lighter, the next lighter gray is 15, and the most lighter gray is 2014. It's by race. And I'm going to move this chart up so you can see what I'm talking about. I didn't know that I didn't have that where it should be. So I moved it up for you. So here it is. White and non-Hispanics. This is all white people. White people back in 2014 were leading at 23.8%. Then by 2015, they were leading at 29.9%. In 2016, white people, white non-Hispanic, were leading the country in opioid abuse at the rate of 35.9% in 2016. Then in 2017, they were at 31.1%. So there was a slight drop off in 2017. Now, black, non-Hispanic, that's black people now. In 2014, we were about 10.8% of those that were hooked on opioid at that time in 2014. And ladies and gentlemen, I know that statistics can be manipulated. Numbers can be manipulated to make particular groups, those that are in control, look bad. But I'm just giving you these numbers so that you can have some perspective. So black people were at 10.8% in 2015. We moved up to about 14.6% in addiction to opioids. In 2016, we were at 15.6%, and in 2017, we were at 19.7%. You see how we're rising? We are steadily rising as the years go on. Now, right here, as this is very important, this is the next chart. This is Hispanics. And I was very surprised, but Hispanic people are actually ranking even higher than us in some of these areas. In 2014, Hispanic people that were Latino were ranking about 15.6% in 2014, still higher than us. Same thing, white people were still higher than us at 19.4% in 2015, still higher than us, and at 31.2% in 2016, and that was still higher than us. And now they have now evened it out at 30.1% in 2017. So Hispanic people in 2017 kind of equaled black people at 31.1% in opioid addiction at the time. That's according to the chart. And let me bring this down. All of this is part of research. Confirmed opioid related death rates. So these are the number of death rates. Let me correct this. What I just said to you are the number of deaths based in these given years from 2014 to 2015, 16, and 17. 31.1% of white people died of opioid use in 2017, and 2016 at 35.9%. Black people at 19.7% in 2017, and Hispanics at 30.1%, Latinos in 2017. So we were gradually moving up, but our numbers still were not as high as other groups, but still high enough. Still high enough to say there's a problem. There's a serious problem here. Let me put this in the equation here, just to keep some perspective on what's going on here. Now, on this chart, for those of you who are saying, well, you know, white people info use drugs more than any of us. And that is true. And what I'm going to do, let me see if I can find this FBI crime statistics, because I'm going to give you the raw numbers right now for those FBI statistics when it comes to drug use. And I think, oh, fantastic. I just found this. Let me see. Bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. Drug abuse. Here it is. According to the FBI statistics, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm going to put myself back on the screen real quick. According to FBI statistics, ladies and gentlemen, white people, and I'm not trying to be, hey, look, I'm just telling it like it is. These is the FBI statistics, okay? According to FBI statistics, Let me see. Where was I at? Drug abuse. Oh, here we go. Here we go. All right. White people lead in the totality of drug addiction at 71.2% in the overall society. Drug abuse violations by white society is at 71.2%, ladies and gentlemen, telling the truth.
Tell the truth.
Overall drug abuse, overall totality for black people in America is at 26.1%.
Tell the truth.
According to FBI statistics, which are the latest statistics that I'm looking at. I think this is for 2019, 2020. So overall, white society does engage in opioid or drug use overall in this country more than even black people do. Let's go back over to this slider, shall we? So I just want to tell the truth on that.
Tell the truth.
I want to back that up with some more facts and statistics. White America they die disproportionately from drugs, but that could be changing. Yes, white society, as I read the FBI reports as well, white society is dying disproportionately higher from their drug use than any other group of people in America. But it is changing. Rates of death for every 100,000 people by race and ethnic. Okay, so you see right there, white people are on that yellowy line. They are surging up. Black people are just one step below. This is going from the year 99, 2001, 2003, 2005, 2007, 2009, 11, 13, and 15 is what you see below. Sources: the NCHS National Vetting Statistics System, mortality credited. So this is where this come from. And then you have Hispanics one step below us at this particular time in terms of disproportionate drug abuse and use. The other chart I had is how many blacks and whites and Hispanics, and for example, have died from this youth. This is the truth.
Tell the truth.
Let's go over in here. Remember, I told you about older black men. Annual United States rates of opioid overdose deaths per 100,000 person age, as I said before, 55 years or older in 2019. The overall is at 10.7%. And the non-Hispanic or black men is about 40.3%. That's not good at all. That is not good.
Tell the truth.
That is not good. That is troubling. That's problems. I mean, it's raising up. It's rising up, ladies and gentlemen. Right here. Drug overdose death rates among black men in the United States more than tripled between 2015 and 2020. The United States drug overdose death rates per 100,000 people by race, ethnicity, age adjusted. We have black men, 17.3%, white society at 26.2%, American Indian at 25.8%, or Alaska Native American at 25.8%, Hispanic at 10.9%, Asian and Pacific Islander at 4.0%. And right up here, you see Hispanic, all right. You got Hispanic, black in the chart. You have 1.4%. Those represent men where it's increasing. Women are over here. You have, let's see here. Same thing. It's about 7.7% for black women, rising up to about 18.8%, meaning it's going from 7.7% and moving up the scale. Then you got 16.8% moving on up the scale to 32% for Hispanics. White women are at 15.8% at around 21.3%, rising up the scale. And this is from Peer Research Center on this particular issue. So just look at that for a moment. It's a problem. I'm not going to be in denial of it. It's a problem. And it's a big problem because we are losing older black men like this gentleman right here to this addiction. and it's having dramatic effect. Let me put this up here, if you don't mind. Take this down. On this chart right here, you have overdose deaths. Has exposed more than 90,000 in 2020, and synthetic opioids were involved in more than 60% of all overdose. So synthetic opioids its synthetic use of these opioids have impacted Black America. Who is this person coming in here? Get them out of here. Get them. Okay, they've been, these trolls always coming in here. Yeah, when you see those trolls coming in, get them immediately out of here. We got some chick named Star is in the house. We got Yvette in the house. Thank you for being here. To give you all a clap. Thank you. And Golden Melanin. Yeah, when you see them coming in with those trolls, get them out of here immediately. I really appreciate that. So this is a big problem. I hate to bore you with all these little details like this, but it's definitely a big problem. And it's impacting Black men in particular. Now, when we talk about drug use, because this is really about the fact that it's older generation of Black men in particular, Black people in particular, that are being impacted by this, you say, well, what about the youth? Well, I have one for you right here. Here's a chart right here. This is what's going on with our youth. Illegal drug usage among college students. Marijuana, which is becoming legal across the land in various different states, is at 32.6%. Marijuana is being used by college students. Cocaine is being used at 13.3%, right? Hallucinogens, meaning psychedelic drugs, are being used at 13%, just like cocaine for college students, right? Ecstasy, remember that party drug where you go partying, you go to a rave and you take that ecstasy and you start having all this energy and all this other stuff like that. That's at 9.8% amongst college students. Inhaling, huffing at 2.5%. Methamphetamine is being used at 2.1% by college students. And heroin is being used by college students at 1.4%. And fentanyl, which has been one of the things that's been very dangerous. Matter of fact, there's been talk about fentanyl coming out of China, illegal fentanyl, which people use to make methamphetamine, I believe. And they use basically to get high, pretty obviously. Fentanyl is being used by college students, according to this chart, at about 0.7%. So that's what's going on with our young people today. Let me also give you another food for thought right here. In 2013, ladies and gentlemen, opioid overdose rates among non-Hispanic Black men began to verge, according to the research. By 2019, opioid overdose fatal rates among older non-Hispanic Black men was at about 40.3%, which I put that on the board earlier, per 100,000 persons. Black men, non-Hispanic Black men, it was at 40.3 per 100,000 persons. This rate was 4 times greater than the overall opioid overdose fatality rate for older adults. At its lowest, the rates of overdose deaths among non-Hispanic Black men was at 2.24 deaths per 100,000 person, according to the study. I present this to you today because this was a new study that just came out that verified that there's an increase in a serious problem happening within the Black community as it relates to Black men, older Black men. This is the truth.
Tell the truth.
I'm almost finished with the boring part of the presentation. But this has to be, I have to get through this. This is important information. Overall, 79,893 adults in the United States died from an opiate overdose during the study period. 79.97% of these deaths were adults aged 55 to 64. That's a damn shame, years old. And 58.98% were men. Damn it. The study reported that the number of opioid overdose amongst older adults was 518 in 1999 and increased to about 10,292 in 2019, a 1,886% increase according to the release. Annual rates of opioid overdose deaths per 100,000 persons aged 55 years or older has increased over time, ranging from 0.9% in 1999 to about 10.7% in 2019. That was not too long ago, ladies and gentlemen. We are not out of the woods with that. And as a result, unfortunately, we have older black men who could be your grandfather, your father, your uncle, who are hooked on those pills, who are getting out of the bed every day of their life and saying, I need a fix. I need the opioids. I need whatever I can use to get through my pain, through my stress, through my hopelessness, to all that I'm struggling with. Ladies and gentlemen, I know this is not a pretty thing to talk about. This kind of content does not bring people over here in the thousands and the hundreds and whatever, because unfortunately, sometimes when it comes to our community, we don't want to deal with these issues. Now, as I said to you before, even though it is increasing amongst black men with the opioid drug use, overall, white people in America still lead at about 71.2%. Let me get back to that again. 71.2% overall addiction and violation of drug use. Black people overall are at 26.1%. That's overall all drug use. So we're still very low in comparison to our white counterparts. But nevertheless, any black person on drugs suffering in this manner is, to me, one too many.
Tell the truth.
Just one too many. I don't know how you all feel about this. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know in the chat room how you feel about what I've been presenting to you. I know it's not nice. I know it isn't pretty. It isn't what you want to hear about. It isn't a sexy topic, because this is a topic that gets to accountability of what we need to do to better ourselves as a community. And thank you, King Wage, for getting that troll out of here. I have an army of moderators, and they're not having it on this channel. They're just not going to have it over here.
Tell the truth.
And I depend on them, and I appreciate all of you. You are what makes this channel go. Don't forget that. So with that on here, we have older people, black people that we love, that we cherish, that are struggling. And I'm going to say this again. I really think that a lot of this has to do with the fact that, let me take this off the screen like so. I think a lot of this has to do with the fact that, put this back here. I think it has a lot to do with the fact that we have the older generation that was hooked on these recreational drugs, these street drugs, when they were younger. They just never were able to get off of drugs. They were being replaced with these methadone labs that they had to go to get drugs, to get off of one drug. And it just kept cycling itself. The addiction never stopped. And it just got worse as they got older. And now they just trade one drug for another drug. I think this is what this is all about. And you say, man, these people are 56 years old, 55 years old. That's dangerous, because, you know, heart, you start to have heart problems. You're at risk for heart disease when you get older, if you have not been taking care of yourself. So let me go into the chat room before I get to my next part of my presentation and see what people are saying in the chat room. And we got Joe. What's going on? The Sector's in the house. She says, hey, everyone. Thank you for coming over, my sister. We got Love to Travel with Wave is in the house. Thank you, Wave. Thank you for coming over. What is your thoughts about what I've said before? I know it's not the funnest topic to talk about. It's not a topic that's going to bring a lot of people over because it's not a topic that people want to deal with. But it's a topic that is reality that we in our own families, we may be dealing with someone in our family that could be addicted to opioids. Maybe it's us. Maybe it's a grandfather. Maybe it's a great uncle. Maybe it's somebody in our community that may not be blood related, because you know how black people are. Even if you're not blood related, you could be an extended family member. There got to be somebody that we know that is suffering. And we're saying, man, they're addicted. What can we do? And, you know, sometimes people are not going to change what they're doing unless they want to do it, unless they want to change. You can lead them to that water, but will they drink that water and say, yes, I want a clean bill of changing? I want to say, do the best you can to encourage people that you know that are struggling, but understand their struggle is a disease. It is a sickness. It is a compulsion. They cannot sometimes help the compulsion of wanting the drugs, and especially people that are on opioids because they're dealing with pain. And I know that pain management is a serious problem in this country. Look, I've had the experience of working in nursing homes, medical facilities, and I've seen that in this country, we don't do a great job of handling pain management. And sometimes we may over-medicate people to the point that they do become addicted to the drugs to manage their pain. And I don't know what it's going to take for us as a society to figure out ways to manage people's pain with the medications, but don't manage it to the point that they get addicted. It's a difficult proposition. On the Town with Tanya is in the house. Thank you for coming over, my sister. All right. That's Tanya in the house. Remember, last week I had the 5 black comics on. We had a great live stream last week. Make sure you check out another video, that video in particular, if you have not. And she was on the panel. It was great. I got to have them back on again. I want to thank you for coming over and being a part of the presentation today. Now we got my man right here, and that's Real Aaron Collins, who says this. He gave me a $5 super chat, which I really appreciate. Thank you for that.
Thank you for the super
Real
chat.
Aaron Collins says, I appreciate you talking about this info, man. This is one of the elephants in the room of the black community that gets swept under the rug. Yeah. And that's why I don't have a lot of people over here today, because it's not as sexy as talking about what's going on the YouTube streets with Umar Johnson or maybe Tasha K and her trial and what have you, what's going on with that. If I was to do that type of stream, I would have droves of people over here for that, because that's a very sexy This is not a sexy topic, because this is a topic that makes you look at yourself, your family, examine people around you. It makes you look in the mirror. And the truth of the matter is, sometimes we don't want to look in the mirror. I had to talk about this because, one, I'm very concerned about black men. I'm concerned about our health, our mental health, our emotional, everything, our mental health, our physical health. And some of black men that are getting hooked on these opioids and they're overdosing, they look like your uncles, your grandfathers. They are your family members. This should be a topic that should resonate with everybody. To my man, Real Aaron Collins, I'm going to hit the celebration music because I appreciate the super chat, brother. Here we go.
Thank you for the super chat.
I wake up, flex, thumb down now. Check, no drip, this wet. Tell 'em run it up. No sleep, no rest. Might crash, might wreck. But first die, stretch. Tell 'em run it up. I wake up, flex, thumb down now. Check, no drip, this wet. tell them run it up. No sleep, no rest. Might crash, might wreck. But first I stretch. Tell them run it up. 9 out of 10 roll through my hands, I'm by my lonely. Turned to a savage, now my baby wants to hold me. I love my fans, don't need no friends, I got my homies. Thought I could trust you, I find out you tried to zone me. I'm number one up on that court, I'm Nick McGrady. The first one in, the last one out, can't call me lazy. Put in my hours, send the invoice and they pay me. I need 6 rings like MJ and Tom Brady. I wake up, flex, thumb down that check. No drip this, tell them run it up. No sleep, no rest. Might crash, might wreck. But first I stretch, tell them run it up. I wake up, flex, thumb down that check. No drip this, tell them run it up. No sleep, no rest. Might crash, might wreck. But first I stretch, tell them run it up. Y'all gon' make me take that trip way out to Europe. I call up Nigeria, come through in a hurry. Those London boys don't come to play, you should get worried. One false move, find yourself, they getting buried. Dance with the devil, used to love playing those games. Made some bad decisions that brought my mama pain. I made a promise to her, swore that I would change. I'm on the come up, bet I live up to my name. I wake up, flex, I'm down that check. No drip this, tell them run it up. No sleep, no rest. Might crash, might wreck. But first I stretch, tell them run it up. I wake up, flex, I'm down that check.
All right. Thank you to the real Aaron Collins. And I thank Brother Keith Weston. That's my brother there. He came in and gave me, matter of fact, wait a minute now. My man has given me a $100 super chat. Whoa!
Information is
power. Thanks a lot. He says, peace, big brother, information man mode and chat just turning in and had to send you some love with dear brother. Thank you. Tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
Hey. Thank you for the super chat, real Aaron Collins. And thank you for the super chat to brother Keith Weston. Yeah.
I wake up, flex, I'm down that check. No drip this, tell them run it up. No sleep, no rest. Might crash, might wreck. But first I stretch, tell them run it up. I wake up, flex, I'm down that check. No drip this, tell them run it up. No sleep, no rest. Might crash, might wreck. But first I stretch, tell them run it up. 9 out of 10 roll through my hands, I'm by my lonely. Turned to a savage, now my baby wants to hold me. I love my fans, don't need no friends, I got my homies. Thought I could trust you, I find out you tried to zone me. I'm number one up on that court, I'm Nick McGrady. The first one in, the last one out, can't call me lazy. Put in my hours, send the invoice and they pay me. I need 6 rings like MJ and Tom Brady. I wake up, flex.
Really appreciate everybody. I got more.
Yeah. How you so?
Appreciate that, brother.
Yo, I pitch wisdom for the kidsdom. Solid as a prism, keeps a funky rhythm. If I want it, I go and get it. My blood thicker than water, we up like a zipper. My jeans seams got ashes from the plane. I'm elevating and crashing in the bed, but instead I hit my rooftop and watch the world go. Penning this shit inside my journal. Look up at the stars as I burn slow.
All right. Thank you, Brother Keith Weston. I appreciate that super chat. I appreciate everybody who's come over. So let me do this right now as I have a few more things I want to add to my presentation today. Like I said, it's a serious problem. We need to come to grips with it and figure out ways that we can stop this from happening. What I want to do is I want to read something to you. That's powerful. Again, opioid overdose deaths among older adults in the United States have grown faster among black men, and new studies show often more evidence that deadly drug crisis, once seen as mostly affecting white society, has disproportionately harmed people. I don't like that word, people of color, but in this case, they're talking about black men in particular. The research published on Tuesday in the JAMA Network Open found that the annual rate of opioid overdose deaths increased approximately tenfold among adults 55 years of age and older, from a 0.9 deaths per 100,000 population in 1999 to 10.7 per 100,000 in 2019. And I know I went over that earlier in the presentation. Since at least 2001 through 2019, ladies and gentlemen, whites have had the highest opioid overdose deaths rates when compared with black people, Hispanics, and comparison to categories including Asians, Pacific Islanders, and American Indians or Alaskan, according to figures compiled by the Kaiser Family Foundation. The rate for white reached 19.4 deaths per 100,000 population in 2017, compared with 12.9 deaths per 100,000 among black individuals that same year. The United States has had an opioid epidemic basically since the Civil War. Ladies and gentlemen, did you hear what I just said to you? The United States has been dealing with an opioid situation. Let me fix my microphone here. A situation since the Civil War. This addiction problem has been going. Remember, they used to give people Lavin. They used to have opiate. You had the Orpian War. You had what's that stuff? The drugs that were coming out of China, and people were getting high off the Latinum and all that sort of stuff. So this has been going on for a very long time. This is nothing new. Nothing new. Let me read this part right here. Yet the racial divide has narrowed in recent years, with the opioid overdose death rates among black individuals reaching 17.1 per 100,000 in 2019, compared with 19 per 100,000 among whites. Separate studies published in 2020 in the Journal of Addiction found, ladies and gentlemen, and it's a damn shame. Overdose deaths among African Americans was significantly outpacing the rate among whites. An additional research published in September found that across 4 states, Kentucky, Massachusetts, New York, and Ohio, the opioid overdose death rates for black adults increased by 38% from 2018 to 2019, while there was no change overall among other racial ethnic groups. Damn it. It's a damn shame. It's a damn shame. Let me show you a video to put more perspective on this. I want y'all to see this. I got 2 videos for you. They'll be short videos. And I want to thank everybody in the chat room. A clap to all of you that are here. I want to thank everybody that's watching on Roku TV right now. And I want to thank everybody that's watching out there on Facebook groups. Thank you for showing up and supporting this today. Very important. Everybody in Facebook groups, people that are watching or listening on Twitter and all the different platforms that I've got this connected into. I really appreciate that. You could do me the biggest favor. Everybody in the chat room, everybody listening, do me the biggest favor, because this message needs to get out to more people. Go ahead and share this video in all your social media, your Facebook, your Twitter. Share it with your friends, your family, your loved ones, anyone that you know that may be interested in this particular subject matter. Share it out. Very important. Very, very important. But now let me break some news to you, because I think this is also very important as well. Let me show you a video. I've got two videos to start, and let's go with this one right here.
Black Americans are overdosing on opioids at an alarming rate. According to a new study in the American Journal of Public Health, they found nearly a 40% increase in opioid overdoses related to opioid overdose deaths among Black people between 2018 and 2019. Now, that number actually could be even higher considering the pandemic. No other group experienced that increase. Health experts are also citing the pandemic as a reason behind the overall drug overdoses in 2020. Joining me now to discuss this further, we have Daryl Stinson. He is a mental health speaker. He's also a survivor with an amazing story as well. Daryl, when you hear those numbers, sir, are you shocked?
Unfortunately, I'm not shocked. It's an issue that I personally face, and I recognize once I overcame those similar challenges that there were many other people who were struggling just like I was, but we just weren't talking about it. So one of the things I know that we need to do more as a community is talk about our addictions, talk about our mental health challenges so that we can get it out in the open and begin to provide resources and recommendations based upon the data that only comes through conversation.
So what do you think is contributing to this surge of opioid overdoses in Black people? Do you think it's related to drugs being laced with opioids? What is it?
Yeah, I think a big problem is that healthcare systems don't communicate well together. When I was an elite athlete and I was getting opioids from my primary care physician, and then if I had an emergency room visit, they would give me more opioids. Then I could get it off the street. Then I could go to another doctor's office and say I had a pain, a bump, a bruise, an injury, and then they would give me more opioids. Now I have an excess amount, and either I'm selling it or I am now consuming way too much and developing an addiction that is uncontrollable that's being fed through insurance.
Thank you for
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I have another video that I want to show you, and this one definitely puts it in perspective right here. And here we go.
Go completely without using the street drugs, because you never know when you're going to get a bad batch. Have you ever overdosed? The district is somewhat different from what we're seeing on the national news because of the demographics of the city. We're somewhere between 40 and 50% African American, and our population in general in the African American community, opioids have been around for a long time. Did you ever use pills starting out, or was it heroin?
It was heroin from the very beginning. When I first hit it, I was in love with it.
So we have a residual effect with many having survived 30, 40, 50 years. And along came fentanyl, which is a synthetic that it's 100 times more potent. And once that was added to the heroin supply, then what we previously saw as a very stable group of patients, all of a sudden we started getting a rash of overdoses beginning about 3 or 4 years ago.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
Just pulled up to the house.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
And crack this window.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
Let me read what people are saying in the chat room. I appreciate everybody that's here today. Like I said, it's not the most prettiest subject matter to talk about, but it is a reality. We've got the House of X Entertainment Incorporated saying tell the truth. Make sure y'all check out the House of Entertainment's channel. They have a fun channel. It's a place that you can go and just enjoy yourself, laugh, have a good time. You know, because a lot of times on my channel, I'm talking about a lot of serious issues. And I think it's important on YouTube to have balance and make sure you become a part of channels where you can also not only learn something but you can also have a good time and enjoy yourself. So definitely check out the House of Entertainment and what have you. We got Tanya coming in again on a message. She says, on the town with Tanya says this. Heroin became a thing after soldiers came back from Vietnam. Mob flooded New York, poor areas. It flooded poor areas. They forgot their kids like to date us. Addiction does not discriminate. Addiction does not discriminate whatsoever. It's affecting everyone. But I just wanted, the whole point of this particular stream today was to just let everyone know that there is something going on with older black men as it relates to opioid addictions, that it is increasing. And you've got people that would be your grandfather, your father, your uncle, your great uncle that are getting, that are struggling with their opioid addiction. And people in America, as a society, as a country, we are struggling with pain management. We have struggled with pain management for a very long time, and the consequences are horrible. And now we got Keith Weston saying, trying to look up Roku TV. What you want to do, brother, for those of you who definitely want to follow me over there too, is when you go on Roku TV, you want to look up BS3 TV Live. It's under the BS TV Live package. BS3 Sports is a network, and I'm a part of that network on Roku TV. So if you look that up, BS3 TV Live, if you go over there and just look up that particular moniker, write that in, you will find me on that particular network on the Roku TV. So thank you for trying to find me over there. Let's go and see what other people are saying here. Okay, brother DOD, and make sure y'all check out DOD's channel because he does real black news over there, and give him support as well. DOD says, call in 24/7, call to quit opioids now, 866 for yes, brother. Various addiction treatment programs, detox, inpatients, outpatient. Hey, brother, thank you for putting that number out there. See, this is what I'm talking about. This could only come from an audience like this. See, I appreciate what DOD has just done here. I definitely appreciate that. I'm going to read it again. DOD has put out there, call in 24/7, call to quit opioids now, 866-454-0424, various addiction treatment programs, detox, inpatient, outpatient, relapse, etc. Call now. That's the number. See, this is what I'm talking about. Folks are active over here. Let's see. The real Aaron Collins says, that's so unfortunate. Patora Afro, you're absolutely correct. Now, wait a minute. What did she say? Let me see what she said. Patora Afro said, the real Aaron Collins, because the majority of people don't care at all. Yeah, you're absolutely right, sister. A lot of people really don't care. But then they don't usually care until they become the victim themselves, or their family becomes the victim, where they have a family member that's suffering from this, that's impacting their life, or they are impacted directly. And we got Bonnie Rose in the house. And let me see what she said again here. Aaron became, okay, we read that. And let me see what Golden Melanin, that's when black people could not drink Coca-Cola. Yeah, Coca-Cola had real Coke in it. Remember that back in the day? A lot of people don't tell you about that. It's a reason why I got that name. Let's see. Golden Melanin says, DOD, that's true. And when their numbers get out of hand like it is now, that's when they're going to take the crisis serious and do something about it like they did with crack. Yeah. But see, the thing about with crack, though, Golden Melanin, as I was saying earlier, they criminalized black people that were hooked on crack. So when you were hooked on crack, they threw you in jail. They called you a crackhead. They criminalized you. And when white people, who, by the way, according to FBI statistics, let me repeat this message to you all. This is from the latest FBI statistics. White society is hooked on drugs. That means drugs across the board, total drug abuse and violation. Drug abuse and violation, according to the FBI statistics, white people are at 71.2%, while black people are at 26.1%. When black people are on drugs, and we are a smaller number of people that are actually hooked on the drugs, although we are rising in the opioid use as it relates to older black men, when we are on drugs and we are having problems with our drug addiction, we are criminalized and put in jail and made to be seen as addicts, as just throwaway people. When white people are on drugs and they are suffering and their communities are suffering, it becomes a national emergency. Remember when what was it? When Trump was in office as the president, didn't he make opioids a big issue of his campaign or as a big issue of his administration? Because why? White people were the main ones dying from it. And they didn't criminalize them. They simply called them patients. They said, you got to have compassion. It's a disease. It's a medical condition. Why is it that it wasn't a medical condition when black people were suffering with crack cocaine addictions? And why is it not seen that way when black people are hooked on opioids? Because that's why I put on my thumbnail that white society is seen as victims, black people just seen as addicts. And even within opioid treatment, black people are still being treated different than other groups, particularly white people. And remember, I said earlier in this video that there were statistics that came out, and I'm going to do a video about this. Maybe I shouldn't give away the whole bag of chips, but if you got a black doctor, you stand a better chance of surviving your serious condition than you are a white doctor. That's the shame of it in this society. And I'm going to do a separate video about that. I got to do a separate video about that. So I appreciate all the good words in the chat room, all the facts that everybody's putting out there. On the town, what Tanya says, we had about 10 ODs from rich white kids in Bedford, Mount Crystal, New York area in the last year alone. Wow. Oh, we've got Empress KIYA in the house. Thank you for coming over. Appreciate you. I appreciate you. Let me drink some water. I appreciate everybody in that chat room. Everybody that's come over. So I'm getting near the end of this broadcast today. What else? I wanted to show you something else. Let me see if there's something else I want to show. Oh, what's going on? We got 100 watts in hell. What's going on, brother? Look, this is the deal. I got a lot of people that I got to bring over to the channel. There's a brother named Chef, and this brother that's in my chat room I have right here, he says, what's happening? What's party? Hey, what's going on, man? This brother right here, 100 watts. I see him all the time on Brother Chef's channel. I want to bring Brother Chef over here and the whole damn crew. You tell Chef when you talk to him, I send him a IG. But when you get back over there with Chef and y'all do your thing on Chef's channel, man, let him know I got to bring the whole crew over here and let y'all talk it up the way y'all do on Chef's channel right on over here. So this crowd can get to know who Chef and you are and everybody on that platform. And then I got to bring Sister Wanna over. There's so many people that I got to get to. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to set a goal between this month going into next month. I'm going to have to start speeding it up with the interviews and bringing the folks on board. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to drop a link in the chat room. If anybody would like to come upstairs, let's see what time we got here. If anybody would like to come upstairs for a little while and give their opinions about this opioid situation that I've been talking about today, let's just chop it up for a little while. before I end the video today. So what I'll do, while I drop a link in the chat room, let's play a little bit of music if we can, and go from there. And I'll drop this in the chat room. Okay, everybody, peace to you.
Tell the truth.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
Yeah, ISO. Yo, I pitch wisdom for the kidsdom. Solid as a prism, keeps a funky rhythm. If I want it, I go and get it. My blood thicker than water, we up like a zipper. My jeans seams got ashes from the plane. I'm elevating and crashing in the bed, but instead I hit my rooftop and watch the world go. Penning this shit inside my journal. Look up at the stars as I burn slow. Head to the Ville over by Strauss. We in the house with the herbo. As I throw on my starter, once my ignition start up, it's go time. And we ain't even hit our prime in no time. In the city living, spending past our limits. Put my all up in it, only play to win it. What's the status quo? What's the scenario? Kicking mad flavor as for hoes, we don't save a dough. Put them to the side like a page of dough. Cut them off clean like a tape of dough. Really think you dream until you wake up though. Everything is custom. If they ain't want it, then fuck them. If they ain't part of the process, can't trust them. Double cup and sipping, bought a new roll, eating churros. Shorty ass fat like a sumo, and I'm high off the Chillin' with the crew, playing Uno. Niggas tryna front, but it's cool though. We on our way up, so it's kudos. Tryna get the moolah, cop a tudo. I need a big crib with a blue nose. Step into my dreams like it's Euro. Playing pool with the cool vibes by the poolside. Shorty asked me what's my shoe size. She think I'm too fly, but I'm really too high. And I ain't with the rah-rah. Hit her and tell her bye-bye. Already got my nala. Young Simba in the flesh on the high ride. It's all about the commas and the dollar. Devils wear Prada. It's just another saga. It's just another saga. Mental health check, wallet on me check, another day check. We put them in check, spliffs on me check. We got it on deck, checks on check. On to the next, mental health check, wallet on me check, another day check. We put them in check, spliffs on me check. We got it on deck, checks on check. On to the next,
84 pull up out the lot slow. Not scroll, but the knowledge we got lots for. Kim trippin', I could too do the impossible. My legacy forever, but this body better rot slow. I do this for my kids, they're my kids' kids. My kids' kids and they kids' kids. One to one is who I'm is. Plus I'm so upstate, you see it's tatted on my ribs. Okay, 1 + 1 = 2. You knew that. Got that check and your dumb ass blew that.
Okay, we got Back to the Basics, who's come upstairs to join us for a short discussion. Anybody else that wants to join, you're more than welcome. I did put a link in the chat room. Back to the Basics. Can you hear me? Good to have you up on the panel. Go ahead, sister. Speak your truth.
Hello. Yes, Information Man. I can hear you.
All right. I'm glad that you're here.
I'm glad to be here. This is a very serious topic. This is a very, I didn't realize the numbers were so bad. Information Man, I can hear you.
All right. I'm glad that you're here. What happened? She what's
Um,
going on, brother? Perspective. Good to see you. Good to see you here, brother.
Respect. How you feeling there, sir?
I'm feeling really good, man. I'm happy to have you on board. And let me see. You know what? I think there's some feedback coming out of your. Yeah, there's some feedback, I think. Okay. I know what I got to do. Let me go in here and take the echo effect out. I think I know what I got to do. There, and there we go. Put the echo effect in. Okay. All right. Back to the basics. You were speaking and then you got popped out. So finish what you were saying, and then I got to get brother perspective in here and get his perspective on this situation. Go right ahead. Back to the basics.
Yes, I was getting ready to say, just as you have said before in the past, that the medical industry is really a for-profit industry. And opioids, they're very addictive. I remember when, just a short story, I had my wisdom teeth removed and I was prescribed Percocets, and I only took them for 2 days. And then after that, I pretty much just flushed the prescription down the toilet because it's dangerous. And
how did it make you feel? Because I've never had that type of stuff before.
Well, you
I've had
You don't.
what's the other one that they give you when you have pain when you go to the dentist? What's the other one? Help me out, perspective. What's the other
There's
pain?
Vicodin.
I never had Vicodin. There's another one that I've had, but I can't think of the name offhand. It's me. Maybe I have had Vicodin. Shit, who knows? There's so many things you probably have had that you never knew you had. But wow, go ahead. So when you took that, you said it made you feel uneasy.
It did. I only took it for 2 days because as a medic, I mean, I research on things like this, and it's not recommended for anybody to go past 3 days for opioids. I did a sort of a short class on that, and with the various different classes of drugs, yeah, don't go past 72 hours because your chances of getting
Man.
hooked on that is high. So I only took it as needed. The first day was really bad, and then after the second day, I didn't take it anymore.
Wow, man, brother, perspective. I'm so glad to have you here, brother. Speak your. Let's hear what you got to say, brother. Thank you for coming over and supporting the stream. This isn't a very popular subject with our people, but I had to talk about it.
Most definitely. First off, thank you for having the courage to broach this topic. It's definitely relating to us, and it's needed. So thank you for broaching it. A little bit about me. I'll be brief. I was in the military for a long time, and I traveled all over the world. And I grew up you and I are close in age. So I saw in the 70s and the 80s when literally crack destroyed my neighborhood. I grew up in Philadelphia, literally destroyed my neighborhood. And I don't mean that as a euphemism. I mean that as a fact. We lost a whole generation of mothers to this drug. Then we lost fathers for people selling the drug, going to jail. So it literally destroyed my neighborhood. So as I grew into adulthood in the military, when I saw this opioid epidemic, it was interesting to see, just like you said, the word was compassion. It wasn't criminal. It was compassion. And it was words like addicts instead of vandal. And these things, when you see this growing up the way I did, it caused so much pain that I would get into arguments with people and say, in the 80s, crack destroyed my neighborhood. So why are you saying words like you have to be compassionate to people now? My uncles weren't treated with compassion. They were treated with jail sentences. So it's just, it's not scary. It's just a truth. And as you always say, tell the truth. You are telling the truth about this topic, and I appreciate you doing that.
I appreciate your honor. I mean, I see you all the time when Honors had us come on and speak our truth about Umar, and you always were one of the most logical brothers in what you would say, and I definitely enjoyed. So I feel honored to have you on the panel to hear your perspective.
Honored to
I
be
grew
here,
up
sir.
around the same time that you grew up, and I remember seeing people, as I said, walking around, people that you grew up respecting, and you saw them become a shell of themselves, and you saw them doing things you thought they would never do, such as selling themselves, selling off their possessions for little to nothing just to get that hit, seeing people scramble over crack rocks. I seen this growing up, and of course during that era, let's be honest, we also knew people who was dishing out the drugs that we knew was selling this shit. So I got to give you a lot of respect because there's a lot of us that didn't survive that era. Anybody that lived through that era to still living now, I got respect for you because that was an era that you could be blasted at any time by somebody going down the wrong block, making a wrong turn, seeing the wrong thing. I can't tell you how many times when I was in the gym growing up, brother, playing basketball, because I knew a lot of dudes that were into this and that, where you had dudes that would come into the gym with their shotguns ready to shoot somebody over a basketball game or some dispute that was happening on the street. And you have to run and dive around the corners and hide somewhere in the gym to make sure you didn't get blasted by somebody who came back to the gym with a gun. I mean, it was just that crazy. In my community where I grew up, it was that wow. So woo, boy. Real Aaron Collins, man, he's from Chicago. So I know he got. I know you got stories.
Talk to us, brother Aaron.
What's going on? What's going on, brothers? Hey, Shalonda, how you doing, Queen?
I'm doing well.
I'm relating to both of you brothers. I mean, I did grow up on the south side of Chicago, was born and raised in Inglewood to be specific, and I've seen what the drugs have done to certain relatives of mine, and including my older sister. She's no longer here with us. So but if you saw what I put in the chat, that when the difference when it comes to us, when it comes to black addicts, they seek incarceration. When it comes to white addicts, they seek intervention. And it's all by design. It was never designed for us to exist. It was never designed for us to live. That's why we are survivors. They have always used every method and every trick they could pull out of their hat to take us out, literally. It's all, whether you can call it psychological or maybe call it pharmaceutical racism. I know that's a term that's not, I literally just coined that phrase for pharmaceutical racism.
It fits.
Thank you. But I mean, and it's like I say, it's a little triggering right now. I'm getting a little bit emotional because I saw what it did to my big sister, and like I said, she's no longer here with us. But it's, and our neighborhoods are literally flooded with, like you said earlier, information, man, the zombies. And yeah, we have ran around and made jokes about, oh, look at the crackhead right there, ha ha. But we didn't even realize back then how serious this issue was then, and it still is right now. And you know, I have a compassion heart for people, and looking at what's going on. You mentioned fentanyl earlier. Fentanyl is highly lethal. It's actually one of the drugs that it took out the rapper Lil Peep. They found him dead on his tour bus, and get this, they didn't even know he was dead until I guess they tried to move him around or something, and he wasn't responsive. So yeah, fentanyl, that's one of those, I think they call them designer drugs. That's meant to take you out of the game indefinitely. Right. But yeah, this is real serious, and like I said, Info Man earlier, I'm glad you're speaking about this. We need to talk about this. I mean, we focus so much on this damn gender war. We focus so much on white supremacy and racism, and all these things are bad. But we don't really focus enough on the things that we're actually doing to each other. And this is drugs is one of the things that we're using to commit so-called black on black crime. So
right. Keep this in mind too. I had also, and I've got to do a stream about this. This shows you that there is a racial component to all of this, because medically, remember there was an article that came out, and I think I cited that article, and it talked about how when it comes to black people, they see us as having higher threshold for pain. And remember this sister that was the doctor who died of that virus or whatever, you know, this monster, you know, I got to talk in code because you know how YouTube is. And she said she needed more help and they didn't want to help her. And she ended up dying, and she was a medical doctor. And not the fact that there's been articles saying that if you have a white doctor versus a black doctor, you stand a higher chance of dying under the medical care of white doctors in comparison to a black doctor. Now, I didn't make this up. This is studies that have come out. Okay. I'm going to bring my man Trap Vision on in just a moment, but I gotta introduce somebody over here to the left side. This is my brother right here. This is my main man, my brother. This is brother Bishop George Macomb. This is the brother who has the fantastic organization, Urban Nerds Worldwide. Let me give him a clap. Nonprofit in the community of Philadelphia, doing the work that we may just talk about, but he's actually doing it, working with youth, mentoring. He wants to spread the organization to different cities around the country. And I have a lot of respect for him. And if you go to his website, he shows you what he's doing. He has videos. And unlike other people, Brother Perspective, he actually does have a nonprofit, and you can get a tax write-off on it. He's got, when you purchase their merch, it's going to the organization. So let me bring him in. Let him hear what he got to say. There it is right there. So let me do this. Let me bring the brother in. Let me take this off of here. George, come on, man. Give it to us, brothers. Tell us what it's all about.
Hey,
come on now.
You know, I live in Philadelphia. You know, we the opioid capital of America.
Mm-hmm.
Called Philadelphia the Walmart of heroin. You know, for the last 5 years, we had the most opioid deaths in the nation.
Damn.
So, and I've done videos. I got a video on my channel called "The Day the Youth Took Over," and I'm down in this place called Kensington, K&A. And when you go down there, you see white people, Ricans, Puerto Ricans, couple, you know, some black people. It's like it looked like 1987 or 88. It looked like the crack era in 2022. It looked like that right now. And it's like about a 20 block stretch, right up under the L where the L runs. If you Google like Kensington, Philadelphia, heroin epidemic, man, it's bad, bro. Like I'm talking about bad. And you see people. I did in the video. I'm showing people. I walk through Dope Fiend Park. When you walk through Dope Fiend Park, you walk out there. They out there having sex in the park, shooting needles. Police sitting right out there. You know, don't nobody care. Off to the certain blocks, Indiana Avenue. These are like multi-million-dollar blocks in 2022. Literally, still to this day. And I mean, so you see it play out. You know, people just dying. You know, we actually did a thing with our organization where we were down there giving out clothes and food. We was giving out clothes and food to some of the people that's out, you know, that's stranded out there like that, messed up on them drugs. So that's what, you know, we were out there doing. But it's you know, it's a sad thing. It's a sad thing here in 2022. You actually can still see it. Yeah, they criminalized us. They criminalized us for the same things that you saw in the 80s and the 90s. I grew up in that. I seen it. And now, you know, you have white folks and all kinds of things, and they, you know, they're calling it a crisis today. It's a crisis. And you know, they want to, instead of criminalizing them, you know, they got them isolated into certain areas of the city, and they giving them needles, and they pampering them. So, but they're not really like cleaning it up.
Okay, George, let me ask you this question. Are you seeing amongst those who are addicted to these opioids, are you seeing, when it comes to black men in particular, are they older black men? Because according to the research that I was looking at and researching, they're saying that there's an increase in overdose amongst black men that are 55, 56 years old, older generation, that are actually heavily addicted and are overdosing.
Well, I would say here in Philadelphia, for the way I would view that kind of study like that, that older men, they were already hooked on some type of drugs already.
Right. And I was talking about that. Some of them are the byproducts of living through the 60s and 70s, where they either got hooked on crack or heroin or something of that nature. I did touch on that. Yes.
Yeah, they were already hooked on drugs, because if you come to Philadelphia, the young people, they're doing the pills. They're taking the pills and they're dying. They're drinking that syrup, which in Philly they've been drinking since the 70s. What they call lean today, we called the syrup in the early 80s.
Okay,
stuff like that. They're dying off those pills, and you know they got that doo-wop, which they call the dope that you can snort. Some of the guys are snorting that, but for the most part, the people that's really dying off the opiates, for the most part, is like Latinos and white folks. It's like Latinos and white folks. You got black people that are dying, but for the most part, the ones that's dying the most here in the capital is white people. It's white people, and it's like Latinos. But you do have a percentage of black kids snorting that dope. They snort dope like that.
You're right about that, because I showed a chart earlier today that went through a few years, and it showed that amongst Hispanics or Latinos, they were a little bit higher in terms of overdose death rates. Black people were just steadily moving up, but still not higher than either whites or Latinos. And then earlier, pulled up FBI statistics, which were the most recent, and it does have white people in total drug use in this country
Yeah.
at 71.2%, black people at 26%.
I would
Of
tell
course,
you,
it's the FBI, of course.
I would tell you in Philadelphia, I can't speak for other cities.
Mm-hmm.
And we had, we big open air drug markets growing up, blocks doing 40, 50, some $100,000 a day.
Mm-hmm.
That was really happening.
Right.
With the way we're crammed and stacked on top of each other on the East Coast, from Boston down to DC, we're packed.
I grew up seeing the same things in my neighborhood growing up, where you just had areas that were known for drug dens where people were getting high. I knew guys that were selling the drugs, guys that got themselves killed in crack houses, the whole 9 yard. It was just that open, as you were saying. George, go ahead, George.
I'll say this and I'll close out. I'll just say this. For the most part in the black community for Philadelphia, I can't speak for other places.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the black drug dealers didn't want heroin in the black side. The heroin, for the most part, was in North Philly, where the Ricans lived at, the Puerto Ricans and the poor white folks like K&A. You had dope. It was there, but it wasn't as visible as it was with crack and powder and weed, because a lot of the dealers didn't want the people around there getting hooked on it. But if you went to certain parts of South Philly, where the Latinos lived and the whites, and then up North Philly where the Latinos lived and the whites, it was everywhere. I mean, that was the drug of choice, heroin. But for the most parts in West Philly, Southwest Philly, heroin wasn't, like, most of the big drug dealers didn't sell heroin, they sold crack. So heroin wasn't something that was really big. Like, we didn't grow up around heroin. We had to go up North Philly or South Philly to get there.
Wow.
So it was more, so those statistics and stuff like that in Philly, majority of them be white folks and Latinos.
Right. No. Some of the statistics that I was able to present today does bear out what you're saying, George. So you're right on the money. You're always telling the truth.
Tell the truth.
And George, hang on though, brother. Don't go anywhere.
All right.
I want to introduce Trap Vision. What's going on, my brother?
What's up, man? Appreciate you having me on, man.
Yeah, brother.
Hey,
I want to hear what you got to say. I appreciate you coming on. And everybody, this is what I need you to do. Check out Trap Vision's channel. And this brother has a great channel. He be showing some bling bling. Them watches be looking good, man. All the conversation you have over there would be excellent. So make sure y'all check out Trap Vision. But Trap, I want to hear your perspective on this particular subject, my man.
Well, I heard my brother earlier said he from the city, man. So I grew up on the south side of Chicago, and I remember watching, you know what I'm saying, like, making fun of crackheads and stuff like that. So I grew up on the south side of Chicago, and so the thing with me is I didn't learn about, you know what I'm saying, I had a dependency in my blood from, you know what I'm saying, my mom gave me up early in life, you know what I'm saying, so I ended up getting hurt in the Army. Dependency in my blood from. I'm hearing the echo. Y'all hear echo?
Miss Cooper, make sure I had to mute your mic because I think you've got back sound coming out. Just mute whatever back sound. That's the only reason why I've been muting you. That's why. Make sure I had to mute your. Okay, go ahead, Trap Vision.
Okay, so
we'll figure it out.
Okay, so I got hurt in the military, right? I had to have emergency surgery in my mouth, and they gave me these drugs, man. Like this, I don't know what it was, bro. It was so potent, though. And I took it. They didn't tell me how to take it, and I took it for like 4 days. And on the 4th day, I was blacked out for, I think they said, for almost 2 days. Blacked out, bro. Like, I was still breathing and doing my thing, but they couldn't get me woke. So I woke up like an infirmary type deal, and I'm like, where am I at? You know what I'm saying? They was like, dude, you've been asleep for 2 straight days just about, and we had to flush this stuff out your system. And they said, man, you abusing the drugs. So they did this blood test on me, and they said, you have a dependency in your DNA. And I said, what does that mean? They said, well, either your mother and father was doing drugs when you were a baby, and if you're going to be taking pain medication, you're going to have to take it in small doses, because if I do, like, and again, once I hit 25, I tried it again, you know what I'm saying? I was on Tylenol 3s and liquid codeine.
Wow.
Bruh, when I tell you, like, and I couldn't shake it. I was out there, and I always made fun of crackheads, but then I seen how powerful it was. I'm like, crap, dude, I'm no better than these cats because I'm willing to steal from you to like just to get the next high because I don't have the money to buy it. So I ain't gonna lie to you, man. Like I need help. You know what I'm saying? If it weren't for the military, actually it was a chaplain that helped me out with that. You know what I'm saying? And from there, I just, you know what I'm saying, start doing the research on my own about how did drugs get into our system, you know what I'm saying, into our neighborhoods anyway. You know what I'm saying? Why is this even a thing? And then when I'm seeing, I just happen to be writing some stuff out for a show, phone goes off and I see that you know what I'm saying, I was looking at the topic. I was like, wow. So I'm in Indiana now, in Annapolis actually, and just north of here, heroin is the biggest thing. I'm talking about it's crazy. I mean, I'm talking about if you know anything about Indy, Carmel and in Whitestown are like probably the richest areas in our neighborhood. It's like a suburb of Indianapolis, but they got the worst opioid like overdose. Like my man was talking about, like all the white folks getting high off of, you know what I'm saying, some of this other stuff. Where in other areas, like where I'm at, crack is the big thing. You know what I'm saying? They still doing crack. So my thing though is I appreciate you having this information because I had put a comment in the chat earlier. With all this information, I think the biggest thing is we're not considered like not even on par with trash. You know what I'm saying? They either gonna destroy us or they gonna defame our character or put us, just like you said, if somebody white was on drugs or they were doing something, it's like you have to be, you know, cautious of what you say. You have to help them out. But when it comes to us, man, I know people like a gang of my partners went to jail and was hooked on that stuff, and I'm like, bro, they just need help. They ain't getting no help. They went to jail.
I could tell you right now, Trap Vision 3D, brother, where I work at, where I do my work, a good majority of brothers that are incarcerated doing heavy time in California. See, a lot of people stereotype and say that we be doing gunplay, but a lot of brothers that are in prison is because they violated their parole because they were either using drugs or selling drugs, and then that made them come back to prison. There's a lot of brothers that are in jail not because they took someone's life with a gun or did something super, super heinous. It's because they were either selling drugs or they can't get over their addiction themselves. In California, a lot of black men in particular are being brought back into the prison system based on these factors alone. And so I really appreciate
I got a
what you're
question.
saying.
I got a question. So whether it's drugs or murder or whatever the case is when it comes to blacks, why is it that when we do something or if there's a title over our heads, we're considered monsters or we're considered the scum of the earth? But if it was somebody white, it's like, hey, we have to consider their background. You know, we have to see where maybe they wasn't raised right. We have to see what the issue was with either their mama or a grandparent. We have to dig, we have to find the facts before we just accuse this person of being trash. How come it can't be where, hey, look, he did the crime or he went out there and killed somebody for dope or whatever the case is. He's a criminal. You know what I'm saying? Like you criminalize us.
Right.
You
You have to
criminalize us.
look at the fact that you got to look at the fact that you got to go back to a word called cultural conditioning. Let's go back to minstrel shows, caricatures. Remember, way long time ago, they would depict black people with the full lips and the buggly eyes and these stereotypes. I would tell everybody right now, check out a documentary called Ethnic Notions. So that from the time we came out of slavery into Reconstruction, they have been dehumanizing our character. That movie, A Birth of a Nation, where it depicted black men savaging after white women to rape them. And then in that movie, the Klan rose up. And when the first place that they showed that silent picture was at the White House. And they said that this was truth written with lightning, right? So they have been trying to destroy our image from the time we came out of slavery into Reconstruction and trying to make our way in this society because they have never seen us as full citizens. They have never seen us as full humans. Remember, 3/5 human beings was the compromise that was made because the South, the North was concerned about the South dominating politically by naming us, okay, as their population. So they've been trying to dehumanize us and they've been dehumanizing us. And this is the best way to do it, to continue pushing that narrative, because if you're white people, have to maintain their dominance in this society and make you the fall guy for everything. This is
remember,
why when black people were hooked on drugs like crack cocaine in the 80s, you are criminalized. When they're hooked on the opioids and the methamphetamine, it's a medical problem.
And remember, Info.
Yeah.
And remember to answer the question for the brother Trap Vision too. You got to understand something in this country. You know, we carry their names, we speak their language. They are the standard. They put themselves as the standard as to what a civilized society should be.
Tell the truth.
You're behaving the way you're supposed to behave based off of what they're taught. We're supposed to be savages. We're supposed to be sex hungry and all these different things. And as long as we're in their society, the longer we're in their society, they're teaching us not to be savage. So when we do something, they highlight it. And they don't highlight theirs because they're the standard as to how you should talk, how you should move, how you should behave, how you should be everything. They want you to be basically a white man in brown skin. You can't be yourself. So anything that you do against their law is going to be put out there. That's why we got to read people like P.W. Baltha and King Leopold's letter as to how they conquered the black man. So in this society, you are the savage, and they want to portray you as the savage until as black men we see ourselves as not. They condition you to see yourself as a real nigga and all that kind of stuff. So now all they got to do, they created the system. They don't have to do nothing. We become the white supremacists to ourselves. So that's why they promote it like that. But they don't show you that they don't, like I told you, if you came to Philly and I took you down Dope Fiend Park, you're gonna see all white people in that joint. You're like, man, where the black people at? Because you condition, if you think of a drug addict in your community, you want to see some black people, you're gonna see all white folks. And then remember, if you live in Chicago, you live in Philly, places like this, especially on the East Coast, those blocks back in the early 1991, 87, 85 to 91, when we was out there on those blocks, all the customers, the biggest customers was white folks. They came across the bridge and their cars, they was the ones buying your whole pack. It was white people.
Right. He's absolutely right. I lived in San Francisco. Right. San Francisco's got a serious problem right now on the streets with their drug problems. And guess what? I lived there for over 30 years. There are the majority of the drug addicts in San Francisco are white people, and they also come inside the city from the outskirts, and not from Oakland. They're coming from North Bay, Marin, all these areas in the Bay Area. They're coming into San Francisco, and they'll squat in San Francisco, and they're hooked on the drugs. And then what they did in San Francisco is they created a needle exchange program. But guess what, folks? It's gotten out of control. If you go to San Francisco, they're telling people already, beware where you walk downtown, what you walking over. Beware when you go to a park and you sit down in the grass. Brother Perspective, what are your thoughts so far? And Aaron Collins, I'm coming to you in a moment, brother.
Everybody is solid and on point with the with what they're speaking here. But I think I'm just gonna say something. It's gonna be a little bit controversial, but here's the truth. We're preaching to the choir here. So I think the audience that we need to be speaking with or speaking to, or that needs to hear us, is who we need to be addressing these concerns with. So I'll give you an example of something. There's two movies on Netflix right now. One of them's called 13 and the other one's called Crack, the Conspiracy and the Corruption. Yes. When you have white people or people who are not black questioning, why are black people criminals? Why is this? Why is that? We can speak about the knowledge itself all we want amongst ourselves. Have them watch those two movies and then have them come back and talk to you. I'm not standing up for those white producers. I'm standing up for the fact that there are facts in those movies that speak to everything that everyone on this panel has just said. So I think that the main thing we need to do is push this message. This message is ringing with this choir. We all on the same page. We all on the same note. We on the same hymn book. That book needs to be pushed out to those people. So when you ask that question, Brother Trap, you ask that question, we know the answer. The answer needs to be put to the people that are affecting us.
Sir.
Right.
I'm gonna check those out.
Man. Yeah, 13, you got to check out 13. 13 is powerful. Wow. It is. Real Aaron Collins. Hey, what's going on? That's the young. Let's see. Got his son there. What's going on, man? Yeah. What's going on, brother? All right, man. See, that's what it's about. Fatherhood, man. It's fatherhood. But Aaron Collins, man, hit us up with something. And you in now, of course, as you said before, you grew up in Chicago, South Side, Inglewood,
Yeah.
so you know the hard streets as well. But you're also out there in Los Angeles. I'm in Northern California. You're in Southern California. I've been down there many times before. But from your perspective on the ground where you are there, what's going on? What's your perspective? Because you've had a lot of perspective, a lot of experiences on the streets,
Yep.
things that you've seen, and especially working in the entertainment industry. I mean, you've seen a lot out there, man. Give us something.
Well, I want to say first of all, shout out to Brother George Macon, and also want to answer Brother Trap Vision's question about like why they talk about us differently. For one thing, you got to understand the dominant society, they're on code. Unfortunately, we're not on code, so we don't control our own narratives and images. And one thing too, when they designed the system with the intention of them for them to win. They didn't design it for us at all. They designed it for them to be out, always be up on top. And as Brother Perspective said, they designed it where that and Brother George Macon said that they designed it to where they're the standard bearer. They're basically the end all be all. And then to answer Infoman's question here in LA, they're doing a lot of gentrification. And that's by the so like you could walk down Crenshaw Boulevard. You can still see a smattering of black life here, but when you see what they're doing, also they're about to put that rail through here. The rail line's gonna go here. It's gonna go all the way to Inglewood, where they're building the new stadium, where the Super Bowl is gonna actually be this year. They're doing that. I'm not saying anything is wrong with gentrification. I mean, we could use some of our neighborhoods to be cleaned up, I'll admit.
But the problem, Aaron, is when they bring in, like in San Francisco, they brought in light rail going through Hunters Point, through the Trail Hill area. And when that happens, that means we used to call it Negro removal.
I was about to say that. They're
building the Starbucks and all the nice things that we would enjoy. But the problem is that they're building it for a different clientele, which means your butt is got to be gotten rid of.
Exactly. They're overpricing, and they're overpricing these neighborhoods too. Like, look at take Lamert Park, for example, which is part of the greater Crenshaw area. The park itself sometimes is fenced up. We have like something called an African Fest there every Sunday. I don't think I've seen it too much lately. And also that area is one of the better areas of South LA. But we see it being greatly gentrified. For one thing, half of South LA is already Latino because a lot of blacks have moved on to Inland Empire or the Lancaster Palmdale area, and that's by design too. But bottom line is, they're doing it. This is all done with the intention. It's a coordinated effort to basically extinct us. I mean, to basically make us non-existent. And like I was like, you've done stories about me. I mean, I've lived in Skid Row. I've seen people. If you come to Skid Row, I'm telling you, it's like you literally crossed into a different realm altogether. I call Skid Row a microcosm of hell because you can walk down there and literally not even realize these are actual human beings you're looking at.
That's right.
And I mean, I've seen people so far gone on drugs. I'm seeing people literally walking around basically stark ass naked, relieving themselves in the street. And it's just, I've seen some stuff that'll make your stomach turn. So if you're not ready for it, if you don't have a strong constitution to begin with, it will mess you up. I mean, it's not something you want to sit there and eat a bag of popcorn and watch anyway. But if you're not prepared for it mentally, it could be triggering.
Let me do this. Let me say peace to somebody came in. First of all, Glorian Murray gave me a $20 super chat. I want to thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate that a lot. We got RY in the house, Old Reliable, who's been following me as a mod for quite some time. Anytime those Russian bots come in here, get rid of them, folks. We got Keisha Comedy Set. I love this sister. She has a great channel. Check out Keisha's Comedy Set. She's very entertaining. Sister's a family lady, beautiful lady. My father lost his leg at 17 years old of age. He was robbing a liquor store to get that next hit. That's her father. It's a heartbreak. Sister, I appreciate you being willing to give up that type of personal information, but that's what addiction will make you do. And maybe some of us, I know we have family members, some of us who have been addicted. I have had family members, so I got no shame about it. I know people in my family, people that I were close with. That was a guy who got hooked on drugs, and when I would go back to the community, it was like being in a Spike Lee movie where he would ask for money and be like, "Hey, man, you remember me from high school?" You know what I'm saying? And he was an athlete, and I'm looking at, damn, this dude was a hell of a ball player. He's looking like something out of a New Jack City movie. And then, of course, he's asking me for money and telling me if I didn't give him money, you know, I'm gonna go steal it from somebody. It was like being in a Spike Lee movie, but it was surreal because it was somebody that I knew. And he got on drugs because he lost his sister in a tragic killing that blew his mind. And he went out and get drugs and blew his mind away. That's just how easy some of our people can be impacted by this. And then we got my man Black Anonymous in the house saying that he's seen 13 on Netflix, and 13 is an excellent series. I suggest everybody, as soon as possible, check that out. We got Sister Mahogany Roots is in the house. Thank you for being here, sister. Clap to everybody in the chat room. And so let's get back at it.
Hey, bro, I want to say one thing.
Yes,
the
sir.
sister that just gave that information, I'm going to tell you how impactful, and I appreciate you, you know what I'm saying, even giving that information, because that is personal. But one thing I learned when I was in the military, I got sent out to Grenada, Mississippi, and I got treated like like I was a slave out there. I was the only black dude out there, and
wow,
it wasn't a place I wanted to be. But I can say this. I found out that Mississippi was still, when I went out there, was still technically a Confederate state. They didn't have a representative that come forward when the Confederacy fell. So technically, in our lifetime, Mississippi still could have had slave owners. Now, with that being said, when they did become a free state, one thing that I found out, and it is horrible, I was reading a story about how there were blacks on the East Coast, up and down the East Coast, and got massacred during the 1600s. And that information was put in books. But once Mississippi, and a lot of it was in Mississippi libraries, a lot of our history was destroyed. They, I guess, as a revolt to Mississippi becoming a free state, they destroyed a lot of our information. And I said that to say this. That young lady just said something about, you know, the addiction of her father. And I'm telling you, I come from a family where, like, my mother literally gave me to another family member when I was a baby because she wasn't able to take care of me because of addictions and all kind of stuff. These are stories that people don't like to hear, because if you do tell it, like, you don't know how other people are going to take that information. Just like and I'll tell you other thing on Netflix, watch that Michelle Obama series. And she talks about her walk as a first lady and all the demonizing stuff they said against her. But this is her story. And seeing that they are destroying more of our history, this is history in the making, because, yes, I'm with you, bro. We need to push this out to other sources. And I actually sat on a panel with a bunch of other soldiers and white soldiers saying, you know, why is the blacks a bad condition in the military? Why are we being passed up for promotions? Why is this happening? Why is all this other crap? You know, yes, I've been on a panel. We got 2 representatives here in the state of Indiana that represent all soldiers, but like they were fighting for the black cause. You know what I'm saying? Like when I got discharged, and behind me, this flag that you see. This flag was flown over the base that I served on, and medically. I got kicked out medically, and they literally stripped me of my rank. They stripped me of all the money I was due, and they said, "Hey, it's a honorable discharge." I said, how is that honorable? And I made it to an E6. Are you serious? I had to fight, and I still didn't get into my 6. They gave me a 5. They retired me as a sergeant, a buck sergeant, and it still wasn't right. But there were soldiers that got put out for hurting other soldiers, but they kept all of their rank structure. They got their just due, so to speak. And of course, they weren't black soldiers. But the point I'm making is, I just commend the sister for telling a side of the story that we don't know about. Even my brother out there on the East Coast, man, like Skid Row, crackheads and stuff like that. I've seen it. I haven't seen it to that point where you say like it's just like out in the field. I haven't seen it that bad. I haven't seen, I've seen it bad because I went to high school in Gary, Indiana, and we had crackheads there, but it was more killing. We were killing each other out there, like left to right. Like it wasn't nothing to step over bodies out there. You know what I'm saying? Like I could be I could be talking, be cool with y'all, and 2 of y'all be gone by tomorrow. I grew up seeing that, but I just love the fact that she gave that information willingly on this platform, because information, man, I got to say, I found your channel during this pandemic. You know what I'm saying? I was off work, laid off work, and I was just skipping through YouTube, and I was like, the first thing I heard was Tell the Truth. That was the first thing I heard, and I was like, let me check out what this brother talking about. And I'm like, whoa, you was hitting some like boulders. I was like, ooh, this dude out here, like,
thank you, brother.
man, you like a Radio Malcolm X to me, bro. So for real, I look up to you, man. Like seriously,
appreciate that.
I may not comment a lot in there, man. I've actually done some research off of stuff that you've done and said, and I do commend all the brothers on here. I love seeing my brothers, which I do. I look up to my like y'all uncles to me. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate that, brother.
So, and I grew up in a community where we did that. You know what I'm saying? I respected the men and our even the ones that was on drugs, because they'll tell you, hey, don't be like me. Don't go down this road. So every man on this panel, and I'm gonna fall back, I do respect you all. Thank you guys for just letting me come up. Information man, thank you for letting me come up.
No
Hope
problem
everybody
at all,
be
brother.
blessed. And if you guys subscribe to me, man, thank you for coming over there. I got some Black History Month stuff coming up too. I'm gonna tell the truth on some stuff. So thank you guys. Y'all be blessed, man.
Wait a minute. Hey, Trap Vision, let everybody know where they can find you. I want everybody to subscribe to his channel. And Monica, I'm gonna put you on the board here. Thank you for that super chat, sister.
Thank you.
I really appreciate that, and Happy New Year's to you a lot. But Trap, before you go,
yes,
I
sir.
want you to I'm gonna put you front and center. Let everybody know where they can find you.
Okay, now I'm Trap Vision. It like on YouTube is gonna you spell TRAP, then it's gonna be separate Vision, then the 3D. Now keep in mind, I've had my name Trap. I've had that name since '77. So before they became trap music and trap houses, I had this name. So I'm the original.
All right, brother. That's right. Tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
That's right.
So yeah, you can catch me there, and I'm Trap Vision on IG as well. So you know what I'm saying? Join the family. Thank you.
And you got the YouTube channel and the whole 9 yard.
Yes, sir.
And give us a little taste of what your channel is about, because I know that you have a hell of a watch collection and you get into that sort of type of content.
Okay, so let me break it down to you like this.
Okay.
The first watch that was actually recorded in history was given to a queen, and from there, watches were considered to be for nobles and people of great descent. We weren't able to have watches. Now it's 2022 and everybody has a watch. One thing I've learned, I've gathered so much information. I've learned so many, I've been all over the place over a watch, because that's like universal language. And I feel like I can have a watch, you're interested in it. I can say, hey, how you doing? I can learn more about you. And now the watch is a afterthought. I'm more interested in you. So I use watches as a way to network and to gather information and to know people, you know what I'm saying? Gathering a family and letting people know that we can actually build something based off of one thing that we all respect. Because let's face it, watches, Rolex, that's the first thing you think of.
Right.
Like, hey, that brother got a Rolex, which again, come February 1st, I will be doing a Black History Month post on Martin Luther King and Rolexes.
All right, but check this out. I'm sure you know about Benjamin Banneker and the role that he played in designing the design of Washington, D.C., and the role he played with the clock. And a lot of people don't realize that the Big Ben clock that you see in Great Britain, well, that was another respect to Benjamin Banneker. A lot of people don't know that. When they go to England or they say, oh, the Big Ben, well, that Big Ben has a lot to do with Benjamin Banneker. So the whole idea of time and watches, it is connected to our blood because our ancestors were always operating in time. And always remember this, time is not linear, time is circular, my brother. It always keeps going. It never stops. So I appreciate you coming over, Trap Vision.
Thank you.
Peace to you.
Blessings to all my people, man. Bless to all you guys.
Bless
Thank
you
you
too, brother.
Thank you, Trap Vision. Good to see you.
All right, see you guys.
Right. So
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. So this is what we're going to do, everybody, because I'm going to get ready to close out very soon. I'm going to have Gloria Murray come in and give her thoughts. And then I'm going to have Brother Perspective give his thoughts. And then I'm going to take it over to Aaron Collins. And then I want George Macomb to send us home because I want him to talk about his organization and where you can find the website and the donations in terms of donations where you get a real tax write-off. And you can actually, look, Brother Perspective, he's actually really working with kids. You can see it. He has an organization he's developing and it's educational. He is actually doing it and he's not saying hit those donations. He's a very humble man. He'll simply say, if you like to donate, right? He's not like someone else who has trap bandos. The brother is really working. So, okay. All right. Gloria Murray. Hey, is Honors coming on today? Perspective? Is he getting ready to go live today?
I don't know. I didn't see a notification.
I want to catch him if he does go live. But Gloria Murray, go right ahead. And I'm glad you're here, sister. I'm glad you're up here. And thank you for that super chat again. Most respect to you.
Not a problem. Not a problem. And I apologize for coming in late because this is
okay.
Actually, I was waking up from a nap. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not gonna say I was
respect,
doing anything.
We're all human. People got lives. People come when they can. People watch when they can. You know, I respect people's time. The fact that you're here, it makes me feel good to know that people at least are, coming over and they're watching the content. So go right ahead, though. I want to hear your perspective as we get close to closing the stream out.
Yeah, and I'm gonna keep this brief as possible. This is a powerful discussion, and Trap Vision, I believe, that's the young man's name. Yeah, he brought up a lot of good points that I'm gonna briefly expound on. Again, in my profession, I see the drug addiction every day, and I was currently working at my job when the city thought it would be a good idea for an exchange the needles program. And I was one of the officers that objected to that, because if we're trying to help the community and help in the fight with the war against drugs or whatever, I didn't think exchanging needles was a very good idea, because it would make our job harder, because one of the things that we could monitor as far as if the drugs were actually getting into our building was the drug paraphernalia. So when that became okay, our job became harder. So this drug, as we know, the drug problem, especially in our community, is, I hate to sound grim about it, but it's not going to go away. It will get worse, because it's an implementation that was put into play for its intended purpose. And a great example of that is the pharmaceutical industry. When you still have the pharmaceutical industry still selling legalized opiates, then you're not going to really conquer the problem. I don't know the solution to this issue, to this epidemic in our community. The only thing I could say about it is to really reach out to the young. I mean, when you have a popular drink that is codeine mixed with Sprite and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
and is glorified and glamorized, then it's a very big problem. And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people are dying from that lean drink.
Yeah.
However they want to make it cool and whatever.
Right.
And also reinforce a lot of the history that was taken from us, a lot of contributions that we have made with this country that is rarely spoken about. Reinforce, because my thing is, when we still talk about a community, and it's not just us, but other folks talking about our community, it's always of a dire or desperate or grim state in our
Mm-hmm.
community, which
Yes.
is true. But we're doing a lot of positive things in our community to help our community. But if the rhetoric is still the same, and then we're still being viewed as the same,
Mm-hmm.
then it's always going to contribute to the
Well,
problems in our community. Because when our kids come up and that's all you hear, well, the
mm-hmm.
ghettos are this, and if you're from the ghettos, you it's harder for you to make it. Where we have living proof of young people coming out of out of those neighborhoods, out of those ghettos, and they're doing very well for themselves, but it's rarely spoken on. What you see and what you hear is our community has a drug problem, and um, before it was even really recognized with our community having these type of issues, we were criminalized and demonized for falling into that type of illness. Our young kids are looking at it as, okay, I'm doomed because I'm part of this community. So
Mm-hmm.
it's that continuous fight of showing them, listen, even though this stuff is going on, our community has contributed greatly to this nation. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, the nation was built off our backs, and these are the
Right.
many examples of that. So, unfortunately, a lot of our history is lost. It was stolen. It was removed from us, so we could not know who we really are and how valuable we actually are in this country.
Mm-hmm.
It's unfortunate, but let's keep pushing the fight of, okay, you seeing what you're seeing, but there is a lot of us that have made those strides, whether you're well known like Benjamin Banneker, or just the average Joe like me working at a job that is dealing with that type of environment. I don't
Right.
know if I'm making sense, but
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Let me just say this too. We can also be our own worst enemy, because when we look
yes,
at the music, the rap music, where did all that get introduced at? This whole thing about sipping on some syrup,
yeah,
all these drugs, it's illicit in the music. And we have black artists, rappers, what have you, who display this sort of drug paraphernalia and drug use in their music, and they popularize this stuff. And we do it, and you can say, oh, it's the white. No, we're doing some things to ourselves. And you can make the argument that that comes out of the fact that there's a lack of knowledge of self. If you have self-hate for yourself, then it can be projected on the what? The music, projected in the music, projected on how you carry yourself, and how you see the world is how you see yourself, and how you see yourself is how you're going to see the world. And if you hate yourself, you're going to definitely hate people that look like you and not care about what you're selling them, even if it's destruction. But we have to be accountable to that, and that's why I like what brother uh, George Makem is doing with his organization, because he's
yes,
showing youth another way. He's providing them another vehicle other than what they're going to see on MTV, the rap, the sort of low hanging fruit imagery that's pushed to our community by sometimes, not sometimes, by people who look like us, but there's other people above them who make a buck off of them, exploiting themselves and our community. And then we buy into it by purchasing these goods, the music, the fashion, the clothing, all the nonsense. So I thank you. And before I go over to Brother Perspective, let me just shout out this super chat right here.
Thank
By
you
the
for
good
the
brother
super
Larry
chat.
Anything Goes LLC. $20 super chat. I appreciate that. Check out his channel. He says, I appreciate the great information, fam. This channel always displays greatness of our community. Hey, I appreciate that. That humbles me. That's why I do this, because it is the audience that motivates me to continue putting out content that I feel is relevant and that will be relevant to you as well. So I appreciate that, brother. Again, a clap to you.
Thank you for the super chat.
And let's go over to Brother Perspective and get his perspective in terms of his best words to end the program today. And then I'm going to go to Real Aaron Collins. And then I'm going to have Brother George Maycomb send us home with giving us a few words about his organization, what projects he has coming up, what's going on in his perspective as we get ready to end the program for the day. So, Brother Perspective, I know you've been waiting patiently through all that has been said. Appreciate you being here again, brother. What do you want to say in terms of your great words or your words to put things in perspective as we come to conclusion?
Nah, first and foremost, thank you for doing the show again. Thank you for having me up here. I would like to just speak on the fact that it's a whole lot of knowledge that's been stated up here. And now the question is that what are you going to do with the knowledge that you have?
That's right.
What are you going to do with this information that you have? Knowledge is power, but it's only a steroid when you use it. So what are you going to do with this knowledge that you picked up today? So thank you for opening the door in this show. Every day we wake up with two things, man. We wake up with a choice and a chance. So what are you going to do with your choices that you make during the day? And then what are you going to do with that chance? That chance that you may not see, it only may be this big, but what are you going to do with that chance when you get it? I say be prepared for it. I say be a square. You ain't got to go out here and do all the stuff that's on this rap music. Be a square. Squares are cool. You know what I mean? That way you get to exploit your chances, because they may not come that often, but when they do, you got to be ready and prepared to exploit them. So again, thank you for having me here. Thank you for having the courage to do this show. And I just say peace and blessings to everyone.
All right, brother. I pray peace and whew. I thank you for coming over. And I hope to let me just let you know this. I hope that you will be back over for other discussions that we have like this. I'm sure there'll be other topics, some that will be very polarizing, some that will be not as polarizing, but I hope that you'll be back over to add to the content, to add to the discussion, to the thought. And brother, do you have a channel? Because I've listened to you and you have a lot of wisdom, and I think you would be incredible on YouTube to create a channel where you can give this sort of wisdom perspective that's how I look at it. You have a lot of wisdom in the way you speak. Have you thought about launching your own type of channel?
Thank you for those kind words, my brother. I do have a channel. It is varied perspectives. So it is out there. It's just I haven't been heavy with it, to be blunt with you. And I need to take advantage of that chance that I have. I need to actually listen to some of the stuff that I'm saying. So thank you for giving me the inspiration to get my butt back on my grind mode. So yes, I do have a channel, and I appreciate you kicking me in the tail.
This is
to
what
put
we
it back
want to
in the
do.
gear.
We want everybody to check out Variant Perspectives channel. I'm telling you right now, brother, definitely kick it in gear, because I've heard you speak before. You make a lot of sense. There's a lot of people on YouTube who do a lot of talking. They make no sense. They just, just nonsense. And we need more brothers like yourself and others and sisters who actually make sense on YouTube to drown out those who make no damn sense. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Tell the truth.
Respect. Much
So,
respect, sir.
Hey, get it. Hey, get it together. Get what you're doing together, brother. Because I
Yes,
want to
sir.
bring you back over here for an interview to definitely promote the channel and push more of what it is that you're doing. Because I think you are a voice. From the time that I heard you over on Honor's channel, you are a voice that needs to be heard. We need, like I said, more brothers who are talking truth and giving proper perspective that one can learn from. Because as you know, there's a lot of nonsense on YouTube and a lot of people talking nonsense and putting these goofy labels on themselves. This
We
I'm
know.
red
Yes, sir.
pill, I'm blue, all this nonsense, all
Hmm.
this cartoon nonsense that no black man on the real world actually talks like that. At least the ones that I know who have some sense about themselves and are actually doing things, they don't spend all that time with all that goofy labeling. They just say it like it is. And so we need that. So I thank you again for coming on
Yes, sir.
board.
Much respect.
All right, brother. All right, there it is. Variant Perspectives. He's got a channel. Check him out. He's going to be getting his channel up and moving. And this is a brother who has a lot to say. Very, very, very wise brother. And I have a lot of respect for him. Real Aaron Collins. Here it is, brother. Put your front and stage. I know you have a channel as well. Give us what you want to say to the people and also promote your channel as well.
All right. Random information, man. I wanted to say, first of all, you hit the nail right on the head. I mean, I'm looking at Black YouTube today. It's a bunch of Comedy Central stuff, and it ain't even funny comedy, to be honest with you. The stuff these dudes talk, these girls and guys talk about. But yeah, this has been a very powerful conversation, and I've been hearing about lean. I know what it is. It's codeine. They call it purple drink. A lot of it that came out of the Houston area. A lot of rappers have actually died from it. There's codeine and promethazine, like that cough syrup mixed with, I think, alcohol. But it's a downer. They love that feeling of being like real slurry, like what's happening, like talking like that. It's that I think they think it's cool or something. But you're basically to come on here, and I feel like this has been a very esteemed panel here with perspective and Brother George Macon and Trap Vision and Sister Glorianne and even back to the basics before. And this has been a very, very respectful panel, and I love stuff like this. And like the brother said, I never even thought about this before, but yeah, I guess Info Man, you are like a radio friendly Malcolm, so to speak. But yeah, I'm glad to have gotten to get to know you. I consider you an esteemed colleague and friend, a big brother to me.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
that.
And the topics you cover, I mean, you basically, you say the things that most folks, most Black content creators are just scared to say. I mean, because everyone wants to be the next big thing. Everyone wants to clout chase. Everyone wants to say the greatest diss track, whatever. People want to talk about pulling up on someone. I mean, it's time out for that. It's really time out for it. It sounds like a broken record. We need to talk about the facts and talk about the issues that's really affecting our community. And before we can even begin to continue talking about white supremacy and racism, as I have acknowledged, it does still exist, but we need to get on our own ass. And that's one thing I'm known to do myself. And you're not going to be liked. I mean, trust me, I've gotten the hate comments before because of people I rock with and the things I say, but I don't care. I mean, I'm going to continue to put the facts out there.
Right.
Because see, when too many people like you, that means you're not really doing a good enough job.
True. You have people that are trying to hate on you because of what you're talking about. That's truth. Then you are doing a good job because you have the people out there that are hating on what you're doing. Look, I always believe that the cream will rise to the top. I'm not going to do the sort of things that people do on YouTube. I know look, if I wanted to have 1,000 people watching, all I have to do is outrageous stuff. Outrageous, you know what I have to do. And I just don't want to do that because that's just not me, genuinely. Now, there's some topics that I'll cover that obviously will bring more people over because it's more polarizing. And I already knew when I did this video today, it was not going to be one that was going to really get the crowd all excited because we don't oftentimes in general like to examine what's happening to us. And I don't always want to talk about the negative, but we have to address these issues. And I feel that we should use our platforms, at least in my opinion. What good is having these platforms if you're not using it to inform people, educate people, and lift people up and empower people and actually give people a dose of some reality. Not everybody wants that. I get it, right? So that's why on my channel, you'll see me touch on different topics. Some topics will bring larger crowds than others, but I'm still going to touch on whatever the topics are. That's important. So Real Aaron Collins, with that said, brother, let everybody know where they can find your channel and find you. And then I'm going to take it over to Brother George Makem.
Most definitely. So my channel is called The Real Aaron Collins on YouTube. I'm gonna eventually get on some other platforms. There's I'm gonna get on Fanbase soon. It's a new Black app. But yeah, The Real Aaron Collins. That's where I am. I'm gonna start putting more content out. I've taken a little bit of a break, but I'm gonna definitely put some more content out and go live more often too, because there's so many different things I want to speak on. So.
Right.
Yeah, the real Aaron Collins, like pretty much like my name here in the chat, and because I'm real. I mean, I don't use catfish accounts or anything like that. The way you see me on there is the way I am in real life. That's why I consider myself real. And also, when I first started my YouTube journey, I saw a bunch of other Aaron Collinses on there, so I decided, well, I'm the real Aaron Collins. So.
Well, Aaron, let me show you something right here. I have another channel, a fourth channel, and I've made some adjustments on that channel. It's called Info Media. On that channel, I'll be giving people tips and tricks and advice on how to build YouTube channels, how to use proper word search. There's a lot of things that I see that people do, and it's the reason why they don't get some traction on their channel. And I'll also be talking about the proper equipment that you need to use. I'll be taking my cameras out into the field while out and about, and also explaining social media and how to leverage what you're doing. This is a channel that's brand new, and it will be built little by little by little. Most of the content on there will not be a type of content that I'm doing over here. This will be content that will be searchable, evergreen content that people are looking for. And I'll be giving you my perspective on how you can build your presence on YouTube in terms of creating searchable content. And there's ways to crack the code, which I have figured that out. There's tools that you can use. And that's why I noticed that there's an increase in viewership in terms of after I do live streams. There's an increase because of the fact that searchable content is actually king in particular searchable content. So Aaron, definitely check that out, because I'll give some tips that any and everybody can use that can be implemented, and you will see a difference in your channel in terms of people finding you. That's the key thing. Is people being able to find your channel organically. And that's where I'm going to go with that content, as you see right there, Info Media. Just subscribe to that channel. I haven't really promoted it heavily right now because I'm still working. I'm going to be launching a video, introduction video, probably within this week. And be on the lookout for that, because I'm looking forward to being out and about with my cameras and talking to people, and then also talking about social media and things of that nature. So Aaron, I appreciate you being here, brother. And you're always welcome here. You've been following me for a long time. We've been through a lot of trials and tribulations on this YouTube street. You know what I'm talking about. Things that have happened in the past, just the rough and tumble. It was a lesson for me to learn how it all works. And I'm still learning and always trying to improve. Now, with that said, let me go to George Makem. George, you've been sitting back very patiently. You're at home with your family. You've been listening to everybody speak. I want you to give us your perspective to end the show, but I need you to remind people about your organization, the benefits that they can get from donating to the organization, and some of the incredible merch that you have for your organization and things you're doing with the children, the youth.
Yeah,
they are our soldiers for tomorrow and our soldiers now.
Exactly. I would just say 2022 is about the work. You know, for years online, you know, we done been in wars on platforms, arguing back and forth with people, man, you know, speaking bad against black folk and everything. You know, you've been on one side of the panel, I've been on the other side of the panel, getting kicked off panels and everything.
I know, I remember that. Woo, boy, yeah, man. We've been through some trials and tribulations.
Right. So at this point, now it's all about the work. Either you're doing the work or get out the way. You know what I mean? You know, it's all about choices. You got a choice. I've been with my wife for 17 years because I chose to be. I come from the crack addicted streets, the murder streets of Philadelphia. Statistically, I ain't supposed to be a grandfather. I ain't supposed to be alive based off of what they were saying about us. But I'm here because I made choices. I chose to. I choose not to be in a gender war. I choose not to watch those channels or be into all that kind of stuff. Life is about choices, and the circumstances that you're in don't mean you have to remain there. You actually can make choices to want to do better and do better.
Right.
And in 2022, it's time to walk into a new destiny, step into a new way of life. Like we got to start doing the work. And if you ain't willing to do the work, I don't want you around me. I mean, if you say you doing stuff, show your work. Let people see it. The reason why 2022 is show your work, because when you show your work, you inspire other people, Black folks, and let them know that it's possible. It can actually be done. You can actually go and do the things that you say you want to do.
Right.
But if you are not doing your work, I'll just end it with this. I want y'all to listen to what I'm telling you. If you're not doing the work, you become the white supremacist. Because white supremacy was designed to make you inconsistent.
Tell the truth.
White supremacy was designed to make you make excuses. So that way you don't compete. White supremacy was designed to make you see yourself as less than. So that way you call yourself a real nigga and bad bitch, and you come online and you down talk, you bad talk your brother, you bad talk your sister. Those are all traits of white supremacy. It was designed so that way you don't come together to attack the system. You fight each other so the system can benefit from it. So you become the white supremacist. Either you're doing the work or you're doing the work of the white supremacists.
Right.
You pick a side. You pick a side. Right. No more excuses. We can no longer once we get up here on these platforms and we start talking about what the white man has done to us, that is an admission that you know what's happening to you.
Now, what are you going to do about it? That's right.
What you going to do about it? See the young guy on the block with the gun, with the tattoos all over his face that don't understand the stuff we're talking about. You're held more accountable than he is because you know better.
Right.
Once you know better, you do better.
He doesn't know better yet. So therefore, he's still in the process of learning, but you know better. So then why are you not doing better? You're absolutely right, George. And George, just so you know, brother, I made a pledge to myself going into this 2022 that I was not going to get on panels where there's dysfunctional conversation. I want to be on panels with people who are about what's real and having conversation that leads to solutions and intelligent talk. I just don't want to be on panels where there's a lot of combativeness. It just doesn't benefit us. At some point in time, we have to move forward. So I personally try to pick and choose what type of panel and what kind of discussion, if I'm even going to get on panels, and I've limited amount of time that I've put myself on panels anymore. I don't really want to spend a lot of time on panels that are non-constructive. Tell us a little bit about the
real quick before I get out. When I get off here, I gotta call you, Info Man. As soon as we get off,
you got the number, right? You got my number.
Yeah, I have your number. It's very important.
All right.
Okay. We have our nonprofit is Urban Nerds Worldwide. It's about bringing science, STEM back to the community, getting the children up on coding, video editing, and understanding the computers, understanding the sciences. We have to get our kids up to speed, and because we're going into this future, man, and our kids are behind. So we created Urban Nerds Worldwide, and the goal is hopefully to have it in different cities across America, man. And just get it to grow. We at about 1.5 years now operations. So you guys can go to our website, Urban Nerds Worldwide. We got more stuff putting on it. We about to redo the website too. But I'm working on, hopefully by the summer we can have a coding camp. We're trying to create a coding camp. There's so many basketball camps in the hood. We want to get a coding camp. Coding, video editing, and stuff like that. We want to teach our black boys and girls how to do stuff other than play basketball. So 2022 is show your works. Just do what you can do. You guys can sub to the Urban Nerds channel or you can subscribe to my George Macon Experience channel, or hit the website, Urban Nerds Worldwide. But it's just time to do the work. I'm doing my part the best way I know how.
Right.
You know, the best way I know how. So that's all I gotta say. I gotta jump off. I gotta tend to the wife, but I gotta call you as soon as you get off.
Yeah, give me a call too, because I gotta tend to the young one myself. It's time to make that dinner. Everybody, I appreciate you coming on, George, and being a part of everything.
I'm gonna call you in like 10 minutes.
Brother. Okay, brother. I'll have my phone ready to go. I'll see it when you make the call. But thank you, George, for coming on. You actually added to the show, and give him a clap. And Real Aaron Collins, thank you too, brother, for being here. And we'll talk very soon. You always come on and you always give a great perspective on what's going on. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. That was George Macon that was on. We had Brother Perspective. We had Real Aaron Collins. We had Glorion Murray that was on. We had Brother Trap Vision that came on. I think Sister Cooper from the 5 Black Comics was trying to come on. I wish she would have come back on the panel, but I think she was having some technical issues, I believe. So I'm not sure what was happening when she came on board. There was feedback that was coming from her mic or from externally from her, and she dropped off. But I wish she would have come back on, because I really would have liked to have heard her perspective on the issues that we talked about today. Once again, this wasn't the most popular topic today, because it's a topic that makes you look at yourself, examine yourself, your family, examine how you look at this whole opioid crisis. I thank you for coming over. Clap to everybody in the chat room. Peace to everybody that came over and took the time out of their time to spend watching and being a part of this discussion of this family today over here. Let me do this before I end the program today. Let me go ahead and say peace to Dr. E. Oh, Dr. E. Oh, I'm glad to see you. Oh, man. Good to see you over here. What's going on, Doc? Man, I'm happy you came over to check out the channel today. Man. I'm going to be launching a new channel called Info Media, where I'll be talking about how to improve your YouTube channel. I'm going to be doing a different type of channel in that area too, Doc, just to let you know. Info Media, just check that out. Subscribe if you like. I'm still getting things off the ground with that channel. I've got some content over there that I'm going to keep on there. I'm going to go into a different direction. You know how it is when you're trying to figure out what you want to do with your niche. It's going to be a total different channel from what I do over here. Over here, I'm more into political, social, issues. That channel won't be as polarizing as this channel is with the issues, but check it out, Dr. Eli. And I'm glad you came over. So much respect to you. Great channel. And he does a channel where he gives YouTube tips and equipment tips and eCam tips. eCam is a great software to use for producing your live streams. So, and he talks about eCam. So you may want to check the doc out here. I have him on the screen. Check out his channel if you're thinking about using eCam or any type of tips as it relates to content creation. And that's really what it's all about. So let me say peace to George Macon for coming on, Gloria Murray, Brother Perspective, just everybody that came in today. I really appreciate everyone that came over. I'm going to have to end the stream. Thank you to everybody that was here earlier. People came in and came out, and I appreciate that. And as always, the way my channel works, it's the weirdest thing. I accumulate more views after the video is over a period of time. It's weird. I get more views over a period of time. It's interesting how my channel works like that. And I really appreciate everybody again. So I'm going to get on out here. Doc, it's good to see you over here. Don't be a stranger. Great content that you make. And let me see what Doc is saying. He said, it looks and sounds good, brother. Oh, thank you. Yeah. And check out his channel. You can learn a lot. He does that evergreen type content that I'm getting ready to get into with my 4th channel. Content that is tried and true on YouTube in terms of YouTube search and what have you. Check him out. Give him support. And you'll learn a lot, especially if you're trying to leverage up your YouTube and your streaming. And on that channel, the Info Media channel that I'm going to be launching. Let me just put this back up here one more time for you to see what I'm talking about. Right there, and I'm going to take this off the screen like so. This channel, again, I'll be talking about microphones, the equipment that you need, right? How you go about live streaming, understanding your YouTube studio, proper tagging, proper keyword search, connecting your keyword search of your title of your channel to what's in the description of your channel. Do you know, everybody, that you should put a description about what your channel is about in the about section? That actually helps you through YouTube search and the algorithms and the metadata. Very important combinations of things that you need to put together, right? You need to use your title of your video as a tag. Now, tags, I'm finding out, are important, but not as important as they were once thought of. But you still want to tag. You still, especially if you're a new channel, you still want to optimize what you're doing. You definitely want to upgrade the thumbnails and improve your thumbnails. The thumbnails on my info media channel will be totally different than the thumbnails over here. Thumbnail, title, keyword search, all these different areas I will be talking about over there. Equipment, proper way that you should stream. Technically, you should stream with a hard line, not Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi creates a lot of fluctuations in your stream and a lot of buffing. So there's a lot of things I'm going to talk about, different softwares you can use on your phone to create thumbnails. I'm giving away the show already. All that's going to be taking place on Info Media. So everybody definitely go over there and subscribe to that. Put Info Media. You're going to see 2 videos on that channel. Those videos are sort of how-to videos, but they're not going to be the bulk of my content. That were 2 videos that I experimented with, but they're not going to be the bulk of the content. And you're going to like it. I'm going to go out into the field with my camera and talk to people and talk about, content creation, social media, all that kind of stuff while out and about. You may see me at a festival. You may see me interviewing someone, the whole 9 yard on that channel. So check that out as soon as you possibly can. I appreciate everybody in the chat room. I've said a mouthful today. And remember, I'm on Roku TV as well. I want to say thank you to everybody out there in Roku TV that's watching. I want to thank my man, BS3 TV Live, the network, the sports network that the brother Ben, who has a network where he has so many different people that are a part of his network. And I'm one of them that's a part of his network now on Roku TV. So you can catch me on Roku TV under that banner. And I thank you again out there. So it's time to get on out of here, folks. You all take care of yourself in the chat room. Everybody again. Oh, and we got Angelica is in the house. Angelica, good to see you here, sister. Thank you for those kind words you said earlier, Angelica. Love you. Love everybody in that chat room. I got to go. Sometimes I hate to go, but you know what? I got to go. So with that said, everybody, let's do it like we always do it. Here it comes. And we always do it like this. Peace.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
ISO. Yo, I pitch wisdom for the kidsdom. Solid as a prism, keeps a funky rhythm. If I want it, I go and get it. My blood thicker than water, we up like a zipper. My jeans seams got ashes from the plane. I'm elevating and crashing in the bed, but instead I hit my rooftop and watch the world go. Penning this shit inside my journal. Look up at the stars as I burn slow. Head to the Ville over by Strauss. We in the house with the herbo. As I throw on my starter, once my ignition start up, it's go time. And we ain't even hit our prime in no time. In the city living, spending past our limits, put my all up in it, only play to win it. What's the status quo, what's the scenario? Kicking mad flavor as for hoes, we don't save a dough. Put them to the side like a page of dough, cut them off clean like a tape up dough. Really think you dream until you wake up though. Everything is custom, if they ain't want it then fuck them. If they ain't part of the process, can't trust them. Double cup and sipping, bought a new roll, eating churros. Shorty ass fat like a sumo, and I'm high off the chilling with the crew playing Uno. Niggas trying to front, but it's cool though. We on our way up, so it's kudos. Trying to get the moolah cafetudo. I need a big crib with a blue nose. Step into my dreams like it's Euro. Playing pool with the cool vibes by the poolside. Shorty asked me what's my shoe size. She think I'm too fly, but I'm really too high. And I ain't with the rah-rah. Hit her and tell her bye-bye. Already got my nala. Young Simba in the flesh on the high ride. It's all about the commas and the dollar. Devils wear Prada. It's just another saga. It's just another saga. Mental health check, wallet on me check, another day check.
Tell the truth.
Check, spliffs on me check, we got it on deck. Checks on check, on to the next. Mental health check, wallet on me check, another day check. We put them in check, spliffs on me check, we got it on deck. Checks on check, on to the next. 84 pull up out the lot slow. Not scroll, but the knowledge we got lots for. Kim tripping, I could too do the impossible. My legacy forever, but this body better rot slow. I do this for my kids, they're my kids' kids. My kids' kids and they kids' kids. One to one is who I'm is. Plus I'm so upstate, you see it's tatted on my ribs. Okay, 1 + 1 = 2, you knew that. Got that check and your dumb ass blew that. You don't have a savings cause you don't trust banks. But you can't talk money cause your shoebox blank, empty. Been on the edge, don't tempt me. I'd rather own less than be renting. Don't tempt me, buy the whole block, don't tempt me. Don't tempt me. Mental health check, wallet on me check, another day check. We put them in check, spliffs on me check, we got it on deck. Checks on check, on to the next. Mental health check, wallet on me check, another day check. We put them in check, spliffs on me check, we got it on deck. Checks on check, on to the next.
Tell the truth.
Told you so extra, but I know I'm the same.
Thank you.
Love me in spite of my trauma. Give me what I need instead of the drama. Cause when it pop off, it's like, oh my. All good all day, but the night we be going so hard on the flip side. So tell me what we on a day, babe. I could keep that same energy. When you go low, I go low too. But you'd rather stay high, I know you. Can we stay high, babe? I'd rather be on that wave, tryna control our emotions. If we on the right side of passion, we could share love in the ocean. But if you wanna go insane either way, baby, we could go all night. We could do it all night. We could go all night. Do we heal, do we bleed? I'ma follow your lead, but we could go all night. Now all of my calls go to voicemail. I block you so I don't raise hell. Should've talked through it in detail. Our separate ways ain't gon' end well, no. But when we get back, it's like, oh my. All bad all day, but the night get that good till we act right.
Truth. Tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
So tell me what we
always
gonna
tell
day,
truth.
Babe. I could keep that same energy.
Always tell truth.
When you go low, I go low too. But you'd rather stay high, I know you. Can we stay high, babe? I'd rather be on that wave, tryna control our emotions. If we on the right side of passion, we could share love in the ocean. But if you wanna go insane either way, baby, we could go all night. We could do it all night. We could go all night, all night. Do we heal, do we bleed? I'ma follow your lead. We could go all night.
I've been calm, cool, collected, but you pushing on my nerves. And I'm knowing your attention, I'm under pressure. Okay, I'm admitting that a couple things I said got acidic in the tone and the presence, I get careless. Long as you know I come with imperfections. When you look at me, you see the soul through my flesh. You something special. Know you looking bomb, the way you dress it, gone, flex it, hold it still and let my mind digest. You got the leverage, you got the upper handle on the situation. You worthy of a million more of the storms that we weathered. We fight retreating different, but you trying to kill the cycle. When nobody's stressing that body like me, I know the way you like it. I treat you like a queen, run the castle, you a treasure. Feel like you setting fire to my desire for the pleasure. You a gem, got me blem, this nigga men's, know you can, I'm out here.
Trying to control our emotions. If we on the right side of passion, we can share love in the ocean.
Everybody take care. Thank you, Brother Doc.
We could go all night. We could go all night. Do we heal, do we bleed? I'ma follow you.
All right, everybody in the chat, we got Wellness with Fugo. Mama in the house. Thank you, everybody. Doc, thank you for coming through and paying me a visit, brother. It's an honor. And thank you again. Everybody take care. And next time I may be doing a stream that be more exciting, more of an issue. Take care, ladies and gentlemen. Peace.